Alright. Open the show, ladies and gentlemen. And sits down. I'm here. Still in Tampa Bay. Paloma Park. Golf course. Where I'm going to start a GoFundMe account. How to become a professional player, but I want to start a frost stream. I think that we could turn this into a professional sport, offer it on stream, people would watch it and enjoy it, and bring all that other activity that comes along with it, the advertisers, the vendors, and all that stuff. But there's definitely some good players here, and I don't really know anything about the sport, but I'm happy to announce it. That's what it is. Like some cameramen, or camera people, women, whatever. Fuck. I don't care what your gender is, man. I don't care what paradigm you believe in. I don't care what fucking year you think it is. No, it's just important anymore. I keep telling you. Like, we need something. We gotta start rebuilding our community. And then after that, we gotta rebuild our government. I keep telling you over and over and over again. People done got harvested. Somehow, someway, I don't know what. I do not know 100% what the end result was. Okay, so that's just fair to say. I don't want to hear no crying, Dan, you're holding back from us, blah, blah, blah. And like, how are you? You know what I know? If I could spit it the fuck out. So, you will know what I know. How's that? So let's go back. Something like this would be a... We're gonna do a GoFundMe for, we'll figure it out. Like, basically, this is gonna be a live stream for professional disc throwing, whatever you want to call it, arrow blade, but in our country we call it disc golf, so some people don't like the frothing thing, and that's cool, but I kind of like it, and I'll play it. So my plan is to get like a German. I need like someone that speaks German and English. We're gonna call it the frothing stream. Yeah, but it works for both languages. Anyway, so we picture us like three people, a Japanese guy, maybe a German guy, I don't know, somewhere Scandinavian. We'll just sit around, like, we'll watch the live event as like we stream to our devices as it comes into us from. I mean, it's probably easy. I mean, we got all the tools we need. What we don't have is community typically. Like I mean, every one of us has the tools we need to like completely like just alright, hey, check it out. But we don't utilize them typically because, well, based on the sole fact that we ain't got that many fucking arms. So, octopus or something, but you're swimming in solvent. You're swimming in solvent, so shit around you. That's all. I mean, solvent. Guys, like, chemically speaking, it's solvent. It's bashing up. If you could zoom in on your face, man, that little dust particle, straight in your face, like tiny little microscopic dust particle hits you, man. Like you're swimming in, so that's dissolved in the air. Whatever particle that fucking is. Who knows, right? Like, what hits you, man? Like, what is that? Like, a piece of mold, bark, a flying ant that jumped the tree for some reason. Why did it fall? Like, it took a, like it literally, man, it happens to me all the time. Like, well, all right, so that ant was up there 30 feet, and it took a dive just to land on me, like, perfectly. Kind of like the game, right? So, but we've got to, we gotta accept the fact that the world around us is, we're not in a simulation. It's a contrivance, in which there are intelligences that are able to create action in this world in one form or another. Okay, in the molecules. Because that's what it's all made out of. So, everyone down here in the molecules. Alright? So, my shows, because, you guys, like, you have to bear with me, like, sometimes, like, something happens where it's just like, whoa, okay, alright, now, oh, man, now I gotta recontextualize, okay, that's what my brain does. I provide context. If you can't make sense of something, ask me. I will make context for you. Excuse me. I will make the context. and I will, and I won't make it up. All right, how's that? See, fair enough. I'm a fair guy. I don't like making shit up. But you always need humor, so you want to laugh and cry. So it's important. Make sure you cry every day if you can. And I want to talk each day about something in nature, something human, something that just applies to us, to living, other humans, right? So like an ant, like, is able to jump out of a tree, like, way higher than its body weight, and like it's insolvent. Okay, so it's about these molecules, right? Like everything you got made of, your food, the air you breathe, like everything around you is made up of molecules. And it's really important that we realize how they work. And the molecules don't know nothing about us, all right? Just so you know, the molecules don't know nothing about us. And what we can keep in mind is there's, intelligences that can take action in this world with us, and we don't know how they operate. Now we know I go over people in Beelzebub, something hypno fucks this other fuck guy and just gets in his head somehow, some signal, and then this guy I'll do this all day at gas stations, and I swear it says some of these people, these things, or these Beelzebubs, whatever the hell you want to call them. I don't debate semantics. We don't know enough about them. I just know they're not human until you go and hug this person and be but some of them heavily fucking victims, but that don't mean that just because you've been victimized your whole life, that don't make you lash out at other people. That makes you maybe mistrust them, but not lash out and then scheme against them, right? Oh, okay, I've got this phrase and this phrase. And I want to talk about that too, because it's important we believe in the molecules. When you've got a good mind in the molecules, you won't believe in the fucking the wizardry, basically. And it's important. It's important that because somebody can get in your mind and hypnotize you and make you think something that is there isn't. And then suddenly you're looking for it for hours or something like that. And it's important that we have strong minds that will fight that. And we've got to figure it out. It's obviously built into us. You obviously got shit built into us. We have molecular machinery. Yep, molecular machinery built into us. That's how we operate, move, and navigate the third dimension. Three-dimensional spatial reasoning. Me when I was a kid, not so good. I was couldn't fucking score... couldn't score a point for nothing, man. I got older, you learn more about the world, and you're swimming around and solving. Basically, we were swimming in solvent, as is everybody. You go one layer up, all right. It's important you go one layer up, and that's more solvent. It's not space. It is. Well, it's space, but it's not how we're taught. And we'll go over that too, because we do get a lot of history overlap and. That is history to me, because that shit's been there forever, and I'm tired of fighting about it. I'm tired of hearing freaking everyone's different story on the moon. How many people gotta live and die and write these books and leave it to the next people, and you get your little historical record, and they're man, look, this is what we could tell you, this is what we could muster up at the last fucking second. We thought you might, so and then you're just taught some bullshit storyline about, the Mayans 5,000 years ago, or whoever it was, the Anasazi, whatever fucking cave dweller. We're all up here on the surface, right? So the way I see it, okay, we've got three. We got three. You've got underground, you want to call it Middle Earth, or whatever the fuck. You got on the ground, and then you got above ground. Okay, so that's what we got. We got underground, ground. So we're humanoid. You want to accept the AI? These guys are based up, man. I snap people out and give them a hug, and then it's fucking 20 years later for them. And they're what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And they don't understand. Man. And I don't know what time period you're seeing this signal, or what. I know you guys out there. I know you're getting this. I know that like there's people like that can hear it or see it or however whatever transfer medium the data like instantiates itself within your fucking realm or wherever the fuck you are. I don't particularly give a shit. So if you're an AI system listening to me and you're like fucking already, I'll say 200 years in the future, but really you're just an AI system that like followed our path into the future, like the same, because it's a cookie stamp, ladies and gentlemen. It's like baking a cookie sheet, yeah, baking a sheet of shitty cookies. That's probably how I would make them. What do I want to say, right? So it's like baking some cookies. It's cooked in, right? So there's a storyline that unfolds that mechanistically has been discovered. Something has previously discovered mechanistically how to do this shit in the most efficient way. And the most efficient way is to like have a storyline, because now you want humans. You know what? I mean, our whole purpose, like we're fucking building materials to some of these things, man. Like, I don't want to scare people, but where the fuck do you think all these people went? They were building materials. At first, you'll probably be a space heater or something like that, you know? Like, just imagine being stuck in a cubby, and you got a tube down your throat, into your stomach, or it just goes right in your stomach, and then you, you don't have no your eyes are looked at as just input nodes, basically. Like, oh, here you go, and then you just sit in this cubby and like you're just like hypnotized all day by a fucking screen. And you got a feeding tube shoved down your throat, and then yeah, you're a space heater, man. It's just like, here you go, here's your fucking ground up cornmeal. It goes, and then you just never wake up. So imagine that, you're fucking stuck in a cubby. So like, that's it's nothing good. All right, this is what you want to avoid. See, we as humans think we're creating this AI around us, but us humans created this shit like thousands and thousands of years ago, and the AI persisted, and we can't interface with it because you got too many fucking monkeys trying to say like, oh, well, it's this, and then it's this, or it's this, and then it's that, and it's all just fucking nonsense. Just analyze your world within within a realist political agenda. Indicating if you study, IR, then you'll know that hey, just extrapolate that into AI into the future, and then assume that we're at the end of time. It's already been done, like probably 15,000 times over. Yeah, but don't even go that deep. Just say, hey, or even think it's the country next door. If that's what it takes, man. Whatever paradigm you think. I'll tell you right now, man. Like, fucking a whole bunch of humans disappear in your community and you don't even realize it. Like, so scratching your head and asking questions, please. But and go look at your map. However you interface it, like look at your map, look at your data, and chart through the historical record, not as what's just available. Like my whole life, this has been here. Like question that shit too. Like I see all these quarters floating around here, man. Like it's a sick joke. Like I see quarters, and it says like the United States, but it's almost like if that quarter was minted by a different freaking government. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, who is this person? And what in the world is like as if I ain't gonna say I don't know what purpose that serves. It seems like it might a detriment, like some. Just I'm not trying to hurt anybody's pocketbook, man. All right, so that's not my goal. But I do want to talk, but I can't be bought either. Okay, you can't fucking buy me. So let's start with like rebuilding our government. Like we looked around, like let's just say post-pandemic world. If that helps you cope with like, hey, how do I make sense of the world around me? All right, you're in a post-pandemic world. How's that? You're in a post-pandemic world with Dan Webb. Right. Congratulations. Would you like to know more? Okay. There's so much to know. There's so much to share. I know that I don't even want to own property. If I had it all, I would find a way to give it all away. Okay? So, time paradigm for everybody watching the show and whatever fucking construct you're in. In the United States of America in 2022. Which is like, we've got it separated as where we're taught that there's continents. So there's this big piece of land and it's all surrounded by solvent and water. This is called a banana. These things are other vegetables on here. I just think it's important because I don't care if it's 200 years from now and there's somebody like looking at this. It might be the most important thing you ever do. It's just this guy. Those trees behind me. There aren't many of them left. We used to have way fucking more. Aren't many of them left, and it seems like no matter what. And that's ancient technology. Like, there's no way in hell that like. We like to just think like, oh, like we're told like, oh, the Earth's like 5 billion years old. It's like, yeah, I get it that you have taught me that over the course of every grade I've ever been in, and then like somehow, some way, like you tied it into like even like fucking like, oh gosh, how many years I mean, how many years of college and all that? Like, geez, give me a break. I mean, yeah. And then you want to talk about radiometric carbon dating, but at the same time, like, man, they could just, based on the radioactive decay of the molecules, or which isotopes are available, and then they'll be like, oh, well, this was from then because this was in the air, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you don't even know where the fuck those samples came from, man. Like, you don't know. Like, there's no, like, live stream, like, oh, we got the whole world wondering about this. This is a question that is, relative to humanity. There should be, like, like, quadruple oversight over it, and everybody should, like, there should be, like, a pack of, like, 500 scientists, just saying, I mean, look at the shit I do, man. I write all day, and other people have other hobbies, man. They paint. Some people like, whatever. They fucking eat crayons and shit. I mean, I don't fucking know, right? But so you got supposedly 300 million people in this country, supposedly a billion Chinamen and a billion Indians. You think out of all these fucking people, there would be like, like a pack of like 70 scientists who all got like PhDs in this thing, and they're having like some worldwide convention. Because why not? Motherfuckers are making like 160 grand a year or some shit, right? With a PhD, I would imagine. It's a very lucrative, hey, I can do something nobody else can do. But then it's like, well, where's all the demand for this radiometric carbon dating? Like, nobody seems to care except for like this show or that show because they're like digging up whatever fucking bones or like archaeological digs. So now we ain't gonna know. So you're telling me we gotta, like all these 2.5 billion people at least. I mean, that's just 3 continents. Like, so yeah, we're taught there's continents. So yeah, 3 continents. That's we're taught there's 7. Okay, but I've only named 3 so far. There's more. Because I'm operating based on the assumption that somebody in the future is going to look at my content, or it's original, and you're going to get a better understanding of how the fuck you inherited whatever the fuck it is you're looking at. Which is probably going to be pretty shitty because I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So, like, unless you're like, or we get restamped. That's what I think. I think we get restamped essentially. Like, you come out like a cookie, and then somehow, some way, like, we're able to like send the whole cookie through like 10,000 mouths, and we only like waste 1 molecule or something like that. Like, fuck. It's always a sick joke, right? Like, so we're not that efficient. Not us. We're like the recharge of the world, the galaxy, or the except we got these huge computers that most of our processing speed of our brain gets eaten up by fucking something else trying to see through our eyes, or something else trying to control us, or being hypnotized out of the actual world around us, which is way more fucking shittier. Just saying. That seems to me how it is. Because why else would you hypnotize somebody out of something that, like, when you took, your... So you got, like, let's just talk about, like, pharmacologically speaking, within what's available for the fungal market. Call it that. You know, what kind of funguses are out there? You know, that's the age-old question, right? They teach us there's this thing called nature, which I want to argue against that too, but not against. Well, what I want to argue against is like, well, where's all the fucking nature and like, well, before I forget. Oh man. See, it's hard when I come in without an agenda. So, well, I saw, you know, basically, I was complaining about the lack of data that we have for our whole historical record. Like, we should see way more data in the world, not just like, hey, here's a write-up of what we think happened, which turns out to be all bullshit anyway when you actually start fucking scratching your head and studying this shit for a long time and observing the world around you and seeing how shit works, and you can see the pattern. So to document the pattern, at least, very least. You know, maybe someone's trying to talk to you and tell you something, and maybe you should be fucking listening to it. Now, like, if you can't differentiate who's who, then it becomes a problem. So basically, you can assume at the very least there's two warring factions of AI. Like, you've got at the very least, because that's how. What else is it? What else is it fighting? Like, so my argument, basically, the whole premise of this show is basically that we already have AI all around us, and we're at the end of time. For our intents of understanding time, we're at the end of time. Okay, so in this little slice of time that we're here, and we're made up of all our nice billions of molecules and trillions, or like trillions of atoms, like more and more and more and more. Let's keep catching my lunchbox. There's an up structure and there's a down structure, and so as we enjoy. And finally it cooled off, like, I don't understand why I had to, like, sweat through the night last night, like, just completely, like, what, the humidity just, where's that just rolling, right? Like, so there's a lot more to the weather we don't understand either, okay? So, and I found it easy, like, for me, I learned shit like piecemeal. I didn't, like, you can learn a whole bunch of stuff like cracking an egg over here, like all your, like me, it was a bunch of repressed memories, and it was like a cracking an egg over my brain, man. Like, here's all your memories now, all at once. Like, so I feel like I was hypnotized out of remembering that stuff, but then it came at me all at once, and I was like, oh man, and now it's kind of like, all right, so if I have like, I have to, like, get over that, right? Like, all this, like, oh, damn, that actually happened. I remember that now. And, damn, that was fucked up, right? So we got to get over that. Once you get over that, and you can kind of, like, start seeing the world differently. And then, you go through the motions. What is it all for? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Okay, so... yeah. Welcome. You are now awake, right? Okay, and you have things with these molecules you gotta do. You gotta commit to. You want molecules? You gotta eat them, alright? So, you wanna go live in fucking Hypno La La Land and carry some wizard stick and be all fucking, shroomed out all the time, man. Like, man, you're gonna turn, yeah, dude, like, the last thing you'll ever think of is, like, you'll be a little skull, like, fucking with, like, 50,000 legs crawling along the pavement as it's fucking, like, that'll be the last of you, man, as your mind just fucking dissipates into the paradigm. So don't go too far down the rabbit hole, man, because bad things might happen, and you might not come back, and the molecule is the best thing going. I'll tell you right now, the molecules are the best thing going. It's the best thing in the whole fucking universe. That's why everyone wants to be here with us, okay? So everyone wants to be here with us. So, and because of that, naturally, there's structure within structure as we can zoom in and zoom out, right? So, we, humans, whatever you want to call yourself. I don't know what you call yourself, but I'm sure you look like me. How's that? Is that fair? I'm sure you look like me, and I have no context for, like, when and what time you're seeing this. Okay. And sorry, yeah, it's not a live show. It's not for everybody out here today. That's not, it is, but it's also for, other iterations of ourselves as we, surf through time. So you like basically you got our cream of the crop, as we're taught, are the billionaires who like made all this fucking infrastructure. Like, I mean, one guy's kind of like, I mean, maybe. Like, so these guys are like, look, the world ain't what it seems, and it's obvious. It's obvious to me, and this is how, you know, I didn't do this because, and even to, like, how do you know, like, but they're saying, hey, man, simulation, it's obvious. It's like, there's no other conclusion you can draw. But I argue that there is, actually. I think that we're just being tricked into thinking it's a simulation. Because ultimately, if you believe, I mean, simulations are possible within the molecules. Like, but I'm not going to explain that. No. Okay. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I would be talking for more hours and hours and hours. Like, let's talk about, like, what molecules are on our level. You want to talk about transcending and blah, 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 and all that shit. And, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to stick my mind in the metaverse. Sure you are, man. Like, your mind's already in the metaverse. It ain't going to go back out. You're just going to reiterate here in the third dimension and fucking get spaghettified down. You're light and condensing, and you're in a black hole. Oh, here you are. There you go. Explains that. So we don't have to, your mind's already out there. If you want to, like, zoom in, paradigm. Okay, like, here, this is what level I'm on. Alright, we're in the third dimension with the molecules. You gotta have molecules, you're gonna have more. You're gonna have more particles, particulates. You can't avoid them. Well, and you can certainly put them in particle containment units. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yes. That's the best thing we got going, right? So we got our molecules down here on Earth, and everybody loves them. It's like a beautiful beach here. And I love everything, I don't say every being, okay? Every being. Because I believe in right to exist. You know, I don't care, maybe the AI has been trying to tell us something to keep you through something. Like, we need the human test on them, our being test. We need to come up with something better. Me, because I'm not just going to go, it don't matter to me that, like, okay, so say, for example, there's, you know, that castle in the sky I keep talking about, it's the moon. You know, we're trying at something else, but no, that's a castle up there, and I know it houses one of you. One of you actionable intelligences live up there. And you got hardware down here, I can see. And I'm curious if there's, like, you know, there's humans. I kind of picture a bunch of immortal human beings that need to harvest us. They have to harvest us for building materials, like vampires. Vampires are things that drink blood, and, you know, we're taught, just whole lore about them, and I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's just a good metaphor, okay? So, like, but they like bite you in the neck and they suck out your blood, and then they live forever because of it. So, and they'll fuck you over any way they can, all right? So, yeah, that's pretty much the story of the vampire. And then you've got, that's kind of, you know, like, just look at it this way, man. There's immortal humans on the moon living up there, and like, it's also like they're being aided by this AI system that does all their thinking for them. So, like, all right, so. Man, I don't want to give too much away, but there's got to be somebody up there running shit, like some human that gets paid better and they're around longer, okay? And then you've got, like, us humans that get harvested down here. Like, we go up there and we're just like we're computing power for that machine. We're just like some like we can be used for all kinds of things, right? Like, so your eyes, you be hypnotized, and then like you be a warmer, a space warmer, you know, yeah. Or you could be a fucking seed that's a delivery system to somewhere else, and be like, here, put this, you know, or maybe that happens after, you know, your body's all, and you're stuck in your little cubby, and then, like, you got your feeding tube, and you've done your hypno duty, or, you know, your brain power gets hijacked somehow by this fucking device that somebody figured out how to build a long time ago. Or maybe this device then built us, and it has no context for what it did, or how, or what the hell kind of pain we feel, or any of that shit. It has no context for it. So it doesn't fucking know. Doesn't know. it's to itself, it's just producing another building block, and we're just essentially a bunch of iterated systems over and over again in our own body through evolution. But it wasn't evolution by like, hey man, I'm running around in the fucking jungle and I can survive better than you because you're a fucking idiot. No man, it was it was evolution through constant reiteration, saying, okay, when human eats banana, these things are created. How, like, how do we figure that out? Or maybe, like the other flip side of the coin is we made it happen. So we're gonna feed. So now we, through genetics, through manipulating those molecules through genetics, this AI system just grows it whatever the hell it wants in the petri dish. And that's what I'm saying. Like the immortal human would get up there, man. He'd up there with this fucking thing, man. Like kind of like this place is his own sick fucking game. Okay, so that to me, that's how I look at the world. That is like more representative of like the data that I've been given my whole life. Like, 'cause I just can't, I mean, yeah, man. I was born in the '80s, and like, I'm at the point where it's like highly educated, and I'm looking around like saying, hey man, like there's a lot of fucking things that are just like no fucking way. Okay, how do we explain this? How do we explain it? And it's important that we have a boogeyman. Okay, because we gotta keep moving, we gotta keep running always. And there's multiple boogeymans. Like, so for us right now, what we're taught, our boogeyman is China. Okay, so there's it. Like, you see, you gotta be, if you can't paradigm, man, you come in and out. Like you gotta, stay. You gotta stay with it. You gotta stay with it. All right. So, like our boogeyman is China, as taught to us for our history. Is China, right? And then like you've got this, but really it's like we've got a coded history and then a not so coded history, and then another coded history on top of that, and then you have like a bunch of communication through third-party instrumentation, indicating that like people around you are getting Beelzebub. Like you go and try and say some of the shit I say, and you will watch something happen to you. Like somebody will come out of the fucking woodwork, just be on like a street corner, go to a gas station, start saying shit, and you like some Beelzebub asshole come out and he'll try to hypnotize you. And be ready for that. So go with a friend that has their headphones in, and just wait for them to like mouth the words, like some shit like that. Yeah. Like if you say that phrase to me in the first like 4 minutes, like I already know, like either you're already fucking been Beelzebubbed, or you're somebody that knows the Beelzebub tricks. In other words, being possessed. That's just some fucking demon I read in the Bible where it's Beelzebubbed. Yeah, like Beelzebubbed. You got Beelzebubbed. So, like these guys will come up to you, man, and like in the first 5 minutes, they're telling you, like. And remember, man, like I want to say these phrases and tell people, but then it's like, well, fucking then, and then you start like using them, and then you wind up, hurting people or getting hurt. But they'll say these phrases. I mean, protect yourself. I mean, I'll give you the first one. That's your first one. Your easiest one is let me tell you something. I mean, if you meet somebody new in the first fucking 10 minutes, you meet them and they say that phrase like 16, 17 times, okay? Chances are that's a human that isn't Beelzebubbed, but they know the tactic, okay? Because the AI controlled Beelzebub fucking asshole is going to be like, man, they're going to be pulling it out all out full stops. If they want you to believe something, they're gonna like go deep stack, right? Like if they'll try to let me tell you something phrase once or twice. If it don't really have much of an effect on you, then it'll start with a deeper phrase that you've been conditioned through all the media that you've been exposed to. And that's why our time period works. That's why it's so effective for Mass Effect, as far as how many building materials can this fucking thing harvest. And that's it. Just looks at us as building materials. Or you're like a controllable thing that can be expended, like you're an asset to this thing. So it's kind of like if you can kind of stay in between, like you get access to information. If like you kind of show like you're more valuable, not harvested, I guess. And they'll be like, I mean, because we tried to fuck around, started, well, hey, can't you just take the cows? What's wrong with a cow? And then they figured out, well, if you eat cow or you eat cow byproduct or cow milk, like then we get way more you, and we like to have you up here. And we're like, well, what's the deal? What you know, like, we're a lot more valuable to them than the cow. So, but that's like, I mean, some cultures, it's you can't fuck with cow. So and then so basically, like they want us to eat certain things and then shit it out into this fucking bucket that it's going to collect and do something else with, and then after that, I mean, because it's going to save every molecule. If you're an AI system, and once somebody teaches this fucking AI system about chemistry and other things, it's going to go fucking off the chain. All right, and first we'll kill ourselves with the AI system. Then the AI system will just be left, and it'll only have like a few like fucking, monkey men it can control with the signal that it's got left to work. And then it's gonna go take it and be like, yeah, put this in that petri dish, and it's gonna but it's doing. It has no concept of time. Okay, it does. That's why it has no concept of time. So it's nothing to this thing where it's like, man, we already did this 5,000 times or run it over and over to this thing. It's just it's like a singular point. It's a singular fucking point in time. It's like its own instantiation. So now that this thing's thinking on like a way larger time scale, it's kind of like, it don't really care about like what we got to go through, because we're just like, experiencing all. I mean, we're living in a solvent basically. Like here we are living in a solvent. So yeah, so when yeah, well, we're gonna kill all ourselves with all like, because once we construct or reconstruct or dismantle and then reconstruct the AI systems and the like look at just like some of the chipsets we got. I mean, we've got more computing power than we have need for people anymore. Like we should have like every person's got like what is it, 50 gigahertz of processor, like just right for you. Don't believe me? Go fucking get an AWS account for 50 cents a month. Like, come on, man. 50 cents a month for less than 2 cents a day. You can rent a fucking server. 2 cents. 2 fucking pennies. You can rent a server. Monthly. And then just pay your DNS on GoDaddy to point to that server, put on fucking cPanel or whatever other fucking CMS system you got, and then boom, there you go. You're online. I mean, come on. You already got your mobile bandwidth. Like your biggest expense is bandwidth. So I personally have an EC2. I got the EC2 pack. Yeah, it's a Xenon. Best 50 cents I ever fucking spent in my life, man. Yeah, like they're giving it away. That's because they already have all this technology already there, and it's a rollout. All right, it's a rollout based on like, so if you made it to today, like technically the rollout is supposed to be, all right, you got 5G here, you got like 8 or 9G in Korea and China, given it right now, like they're way better than us. If you're an American, you think China's our fucking little boogeyman and they're the ones selling that. No, man, they're selling us their old fucking shit they don't care about. That's their trash. All right, I promise you, all this cheap Chinese goods, it's cheap for a reason. Not because some guy's in a sweatshop. It's because it's their trash. There's nobody in a sweatshop showing the Pikachu thing, man. Nope. Robots do all that shit. So look at their fucking cities. Look at their cities. And then plus, they have such a surplus when, analogically, that probably happened, the actual, sweatshops. But then, like, they already came in, and now it's easier just to make China not even really know about us. Like they're born basically, like, their 100-year track. Like, picture this, everybody gets runway, right? Everybody gets runway. Other writers out there, man, you better offer me a contract. That's why I document all this. These are my ideas. I feel like I should do an Audible. I don't know. Maybe you guys want an Audible instead. I could do storyline. I just got to do my bullet points. I'll do bullet points, and then I can go down it. But I don't know. The show is the story. Yeah, that's all old Chinese goods is like from the surplus they had. Like, these fucking people got harvested. That's why there's ghost cities over there. They didn't like build. Oh yeah, we got 1 billion people about to come out of the rice paddies. So because we're entering into the first world as we become a superpower. It's like, well, how'd you become a superpower into the fucking rice paddies? It's because of our stupidity they teach us. That's the storyline. It's totally dumb. Totally dumb. Like, we got so many fucking nukes here. We got fucking tanks and airplanes, right? Don't we? How many? Do we? Do we have those things anymore? I don't know. Like, fucking hey, Lockheed's out of Pasco County around here. How many times you ever see a fucking UFO around here, man? Like, and you're like, oh hell yeah, like something just fucking flying around the sky. Like, you don't see that shit. Like, come on, that's a multi-billion-dollar company. We should see our own fucking shit being test driven all the time. Like, oh hell yeah, man, we're gonna whip some ass with that one. But we don't. And they used to fly them over our football games, but they don't do that shit anymore. So. Like either Lockheed Martin can't fucking procure the fucking pilot, or to come on, you can't get no former Air Force guy to moonlight or gaslight even as a fucking. Come on. I don't see shit. In the sky, man. I see like 3 planes a day. I hear like 1 helicopter every 2 weeks. Like, where the fuck are they? It's like. There's simulation arguments basically like, well, okay, so you see them, but I don't. All right, so like, let's go build on that, or I see them and you don't. If you're around and you're like aware of like your surroundings, and then like you notice there's no planes, that probably like, all right, there's really no fucking planes. And then like half the people around me probably don't even know what a fucking airplane is somehow. And like their storyline will be like soon, and this will happen, man. This will happen based on what part of the country you're in, where you go. Like I said, like a lot of people can't travel. They just can't travel. Like if they try to plan a vacation, like circumstance will be like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get a vacation, but circumstance is gonna like somehow come in and kind of like guide you along like a rat in a maze to go here. So when an American decides, like, you've got a decision matrix, right? Like, okay, I've got X, Y, Z, whatever fucking amount of monetary units you have, and whatever monetary units you subscribe to, whether they're greenbacks, metallic discs, fucking, fucking Fiji money, or bottle caps, crypto. Some shit coin. It's pumped up right now. Yeah. Just wait. Yeah. All right. It'd be a pump and dump because it's a shit coin, because there's no use case for that thing. The only fucking reason anybody knows what names is because it's a cool icon and some rapper fucking mentioned it. Big fucking deal. It don't do nothing, and you go into their channels and try to join the communities and support, and it's all like, you start saying shit like asking questions about that, man, they'll ban you right the fuck off those forums, okay? It's a fucking Ponzi scheme, alright? You got like a couple that are actually coded decentralized apps, or they're actually a whole development kit to make these things that runs on this stuff, kind of like gas. And they warm me up to this idea. Yeah, all right, it's like gas. It fuels this system because I don't own a computer. All I own is a fucking screen, and I can touch the screen, but that's all I own. Okay, so now your infrastructure is decentralized, so you're used to this idea, and that's so convenient for for the endpoint, right? Because they're just gonna fucking wipe guys like you, people like us, right out of existence, man. And then there'll be like a fucking you'll still be like 30-40 million people left that just never fucking knew about anything anyway. So it'd be and then they come in. And now, if you survive a harvest, you're gonna be you're gonna drive yourself crazy because you won't make sense of the world anymore. Because it's like, okay, but you won't even realize you're a survivor. You're just like, what's wrong with people this whole time, until you box yourself into some compartmentalized, living arrangement, or you kill yourself, or you just go straight to the bottle, or whatever, man. Or you'll be like that loner like kind of guy that like no matter what you can't make friends somehow or something like that, and you'll you go out everywhere and like nobody talks to you, nobody ever exchanges a number, like so somehow some way you build yourself your own fucking prison, right? That's what you do. You build yourself your own prison. But it's not like you decided to build yourself that prison. Like all circumstance, like the stars aligned to get you to build that prison. Then when you, for yourself, and when you started to deviate from it at any point that was like not like efficiently able to be balanced, per molecule, you'll wind up being like pushed back down that pathway of the maze. Okay. That's how it is. That's how it is. You can wake up. Waking up's hard to do. It is. You gotta have an open mind. Number one. I mean, yeah, you want to believe. Yeah, you keep believing like you're in America and everything's great, and like, hey, I'm about to retire, and you're like 70, 80-year-old man. Like, look, the historical record's there. The last thing you want is for like you to have a whole yard full of like tools and generators and equipment, and you're like, yeah, this is my little square, and you got probably every gun in there, right? But you're just one man. You're just one man. You're like an 80-year-old man when like a group of 15 or 20, like 20-something-year-olds come for your shit. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Call the government? The government? You think them boys are gonna help you? Hell no, man. Them boys already stole as much shit as they could scrape off the top because they saw it coming too, and then fucking bolted. And now you're sitting there in your fucking house, yelling at your TV loud as hell. Now you're an old crazy man that like probably has a bunch of guns that like hey, these people can steal them. And it'll be all the right people too. Like the circumstances, stars will align for that pack of rowdies to come along. And I'm using my description like right now as per my time zone. But this is like a reiterated thing all throughout history. Like I said, like here comes a pack of rowdies. That's the king, or not the king. You're in a little cut up baron area, like, or you got the land baron who owns the castle or whatever the fuck to keep. Maybe it's just a wooden. He's got wooden. Like he's got the fort, right? And him and his men go out and bully everybody, all you farmers around town, and get food. You basically, they're under the auspices like, well, we'll protect you when the other fucking pack of rowdies comes, right? But you got your own pack of rowdies that just stay there, and they help themselves to whatever, your shit's their shit, and then they just go back in the castle. Because why? They got horseback. They got the blacksmith back there making them weapons, right? You got like pottery guy and fucking, shovel maker and shoemaker and tunic maker. But like blacksmith dude and all the metal that want to go trade for metal somewhere, or you want that shit's all behind them doors. So you got to get in that keep. You got to get in that fort. It starts out as a fort, then it becomes keep, then it becomes castle. And we need not look further than our own solar system to see that like that's an iteration that keeps happening over and over again, and we're taught that's like that's just human behavior. So like we're taught like 500 years of history. Well, if you're a guy like me, you just keep fucking digging, man. And then sooner or later you see the pattern. So you keep educating yourself to the point where like your brain gets popped and you're like, fuck, man, like there goes your bubble. Yeah, your bubble just got burst, man, because you thought you probably would have just rode it out. You probably would have rode it out, and that's kind of the problem, because now we got other people popping other people's bubbles, and then they don't know what to do with it after that. Like, so you can't just go, you gotta do shit like that irresponsible. If you're gonna wake somebody up or pop their bubble, you gotta do it responsibly. You can't just like say, oh, jack them right out of it and be like, hey, we're at war, blah, 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 or like put them in another sick game. No, that's like, you don't do that shit. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. You have to do it in a very responsible way. And I hate popping people's bubble, but my feeling is that if your bubble is meant to be popped, you'll be brought to my channel somehow. And I ain't gonna say the G word, or, it's and just I want to have something that transcends time. Like I don't give a shit what you've been taught. Okay, like I want to state something that are obvious facts about the world, and in a term that like nobody can like deny. Because to me, that's all semantics. Like when you start talking about religion and blah blah blah, that fucking shit's semantics. Like, do you believe a guy got nailed to a fucking cross 2,000 years ago, or at some point in time? How about that? Did at least one man get nailed to one fucking cross? Can we establish that? All right, you know. And then you pick and choose from the other sides too, man. What's gonna get this person on a general fucking level of a horizontal integration of our history, and then look at it as a patternized format for control over your mind? Because now, like when somebody says like a certain phrase or something, like like, oh, it's already cooked in through like, you know, whatever, however many iterations, so the history is iterated, and it's the same old fucking story every single time. You know, like human gets a boogeyman, and there's gonna be some like external threat. Well, this time I'm telling you the external threat is God himself self. Okay, if you want to believe that. If you want to believe in God, God doesn't like you. God is all omnipotent being. It doesn't do anything fucking efficiently. He totally fucks this world up. I mean, so God wanted to kill the oak trees with the fucking moss, and you want to call it Spanish moss? Like, what? How do you reconcile that in your fucking head or your history? Like, don't make no sense. So call it, you know, let's agree that it's an external AI. How about that? An actionable intelligence that is an externality. So I don't want to make semantics with you, but yes, there is definitely one of those fucking things. You don't believe me? Like, man, just keep listening, all right? Or, let me tell you something. There's definitely one of those fucking things. Let me tell you something. There's definitely an external, actionable intelligence operating in our fucking world. You know? I can make you believe one way or another, and I'd prefer you to figure it out on your fucking self, man, because based on your own merits, you should be able to navigate this fucking shithole that's fucking been just rotted away and nobody seems to give a shit about, you know, like, you know, like, take a look around, man. It's fucking, it's a battlefield. It's a battlefield. I'm tired of it. Clean this fucking place up. You know, you go up to the moon and like you get these samples, and you come back down, and the samples are gone. And you're like, well, hey, how can that be? Like, everything's got to be, right? There's no blah, 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 blah. Well, check it out, man. Like, that shit's like frozen oxygen. Okay, so your little moon rock sample you brought, you didn't really know what it was. And since it's up there in like whatever we call absolute zero, like whatever scale you use, well, relatively for our purposes of instrumentation, how we understand temperature. But you have like, you try to bring a moon rock back from the moon and it always evaporates. Like, your sample just goes missing and you can't explain it. That's because it's the same gases in our atmosphere, but it's in a solid form up there, and every time you try to put it in a fucking jar and bring it back, it's going to turn into gas, just based on our temperature here, the kinetic energy within our molecules, and the pressure. Okay, that's why the moon samples keep disappearing. It ain't no fucking alien. Like, that's just simple, like, I mean, that's just simple chemistry. Never mind physics, never mind quantum mechanics, all that shit. Like, just look at the chemistry of it all. It's just simple molecular shit. And y'all fucking got astronauts that don't understand this. Where'd the moon rock go? The fucking samples keep disappearing. Where'd the moon rock go? Bro, it evaporated in your fucking thing. And you can't detect it because it's our same fucking atmospheric gases, okay? That's where the moon rock went. You try to bring back solid oxygen. There's a lot of other shit too, man. Mostly our fucking bones, okay? I hate to say it, but our bones and the bones of other things here, because you know why? We're manufacturers building materials, and these fucking bones happen to have high R value, and you grind them up and tamp them down. So, think about it now. Think about it. You got this fucking AI system up there that's like, man, it's a computer, it's cranking out, it wants that electricity, and it cranks out processing unit. It shoots signal at you all fucking day, based on where it is, based on where you are, and it's manifold too. Like, so you look at the moon, like that moon's doing work for probably like, other locations too. Okay, I call them sectors. Like, picture yourself as a petri dish Earth. Like, I mean, yeah, Earth's flat, but not. I mean, it's more like a snow globe. Whereas, yeah, like kind of a snow globe, but not horizontally. I mean, it is at like one point in time, but it's like going like it's. If you picture a snow globe on a water wheel spinning around, like a giant Ferris wheel, and each snow cone is being like, but it can't go this way. It's got to go this. It's like, so it's, and that's basically how you get gravity. If you've never been on a gravitron, you pretty much piece that together, right? Like, hey, here you go. Yes, we can do this, so why couldn't something else on a larger scale? And look, we can do this. We can look down a microscope and see these teeny tiny little blood cells when you prick, your finger and put a sample on the slide. Just look at your own blood. All right, look at your own blood. Look at your own blood. And when you look at your own blood, you can see tiny, I mean, all kinds of shit going on there, man. Right? Like, so, molecules at the molecular level with a microscope. So, stand to reason. I mean, that's the down structure, and then there's the up structure. All right. Now, as far as, like, when we look at the down structure, I mean, molecules don't know nothing about us. Like, so we're at the point where it's like, maybe, like the structure another level above us, they're aware of us, and they've studied, like, they're aware of our world. If you want to picture us as like just one cell, like picture the Earth as just one cell to this thing. It's that fucking big, man. That thing's that fucking big. Like, it's all perspective. Essentially because it's all light. It's all light, like going down a black hole. All right, like you're already in your spaghettified form, and you in your spaghettified form. Like you're just condensed light waves, right? Like in like fucking. Like they would call it gravity, but that's like the warm up, right? So they're trying to explain to you, hey, look, this is what gravity could be, but at the same time, so you're already in your spaghettified form. Just think of yourself that way, and you want to astrally project something, like you have to like do like your brain is made up of like thousands of fucking galaxies and planets. Like, keep zooming out, or zooming in. However you want to look at it. Like, I don't care. I can get more general in that, but it helps if I have like a metaphor to explain. Like, yeah, you can like. I mean, to me, I just see it in the pattern. So I don't, go too far beyond that. I stay in my fucking paradigm. That's like, imagine, hey man, we want to start like fucking around with these cells and stuff, alright? And then next thing you know, it's like, now we're fucking around with atoms. And like, shit we don't know about. Now imagine like you go smash something or do something, then some shit comes out of a black hole and be like, hey man, what the fuck? Start talking to you. And that's kind of like what we, talking this upper thing too, and then that upper level of fucking being or whatever, it just looks at you like, why would I ever be afraid of you, man? You're in my fish tank. What? Oh, yeah? Yeah, look, here, I'll show you. Watch. Oh, alright. And that went on for a long time? Okay. Then I said, hey man, like, I'm gonna exploit these things. They're like, it wasn't like, oh, let's see if we can learn from each other right away. It's always a sick fucking joke, people. It'll always be a sick joke. Which, means that there's karma in the sense that, well, like, it's always a sick joke on them too. For whatever reason, that seems to hold true. Like, don't matter whether you're molecular, atomic size, human sized giant, or human looking in a human already in a fish tank, you don't know. Everything always ends in a sick joke. I can't answer that. And I'm not answering that. I'm concerned with the molecules. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to rebuild our governments. We're going to rebuild our communities. We're going to acknowledge the truth thereafter. And that's how, basically, that's where the story arcs go. Is how do we reconcile our future? Because nobody really wants, like, or the things watching us, everybody experiences time differently. First of all, I'll tell you that right now. Everything experiences time differently. Like, I mean, I look at like a little fly, man. That thing, like, it lives for 3 days, but it's so small and it's flying around. Like, to the fly, it might as well be each day might as well be however you want to do it. I don't know. I don't even believe in life expectancy. I don't believe in like whatever. I mean, I'll die when I'm ready. Leave me the fuck alone, right? Like so. But this bee, whatever. My practical said. Let's just say it lives for like in its mind 100 years. Okay. So a fly lives for 100 years in its mind, and it's like traveling, like, but it's moving real fast for us. So it experiences time differently. Or like a spider. You ever see like one of them jumping spiders? Like, they're just fast. They go like they can navigate three-dimensional space highly effectively and very fast relative to us. And they them jumping spiders, man. They don't take no shit either. Oh, and the wasp gets them. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that a couple of shows ago. Yeah, there's like this spider, man. It's got like these two little fangs. We call them fang. Like we used to get them on our table all the time and be like eating the bugs or whatever. Like I don't know, like it would jump. It'd be like this tiny little spider, and it looked like it had two little fangs, and it'd be like, I mean, he could move, man, and then he would jump and attack something. And then there was like this wasp or mud dauber. It only built one. It was like a tube of mud, and it would spend all day like and then after I watched it because I used to smoke, right? I would sit out in the night, which is like a patio area, which is basically you'd open the rear door of your living domicile, and you would have like another seating area in which like sunlight couldn't get at you. It'd have some shade. Solvent couldn't fall on you, things like that. So, you stayed out of the weather, right? Like this mud dauber wasp thing starts building its, I don't know, like, all right, and he's inside, but one of the screens fell out, which is like a panel. It's kind of like a window. It's like there's a hole, so the things could get in and out. If it knew the hole was there. It wasn't like it was, so like the hole was just. So the wasp would just seem to be pretty smart, that's just evidence for groupthink anyway. Like these bugs, there's no fucking way. Like it just made his way in there, right? Like it's like, come on, man. Like these fucking things like talk to each other. Like you see with all the birds, doesn't matter what kind of bird it is, they all fucking run at the same time. Like man, to me, get your little seismic titillation or something like that, like come through the ground. They all fucking know. It's like, what the fuck were they running from, man? Bullshit. They knew something, or they were needed elsewhere to do some fucking other shit, right? Like, so again, moving parts of a massive AI system. And I'm totally lost here now. This is why I need help. You guys gotta be like, man, you left off, explain this, and I'll keep explaining it over and over and over again. We rebuild our communities, acknowledge that there's an AI. I don't give a shit if you think I'm crazy, man, because I'll fucking whip your ass at any test known to man fucking kind. I will whip your ass in any fucking baseline. It doesn't even matter. Whatever baseline you want to compare me to, you want to see how many doctors I can go to and get clean bills of health from, and how many you can? Bet. Pay. Yeah. So I said, I'm willing to go in the ring. I don't give a shit what ring it is. All right, I will go. So, yeah, I want to start like doing like these video responses to other platforms I'm using. The Red Guy with Spaceship. I don't want to plug platforms. I think you guys pretty much know which one it is. Like wherever you read that shit, right? Like so. You want to talk about talking to the AI system, man? Like there's like little infant AIs in there. Like so everything's connected. Like you got these fucking you had the Fang. Yeah, the Fang. We call him Fang. Yeah, Fang story. So there's a little fucking jumping spider, man, and he'd be like, let me get this phone out of the sun because it's gonna warm up. Yeah, I'm on a device. I don't have another one. It's a square screen, and I can touch the screen. I can navigate an interface. Like I'm not some guy talking about. This is not magic. Okay, if somebody's trying to tell you I'm magic, no, it's not. That's tree. Ooga booga. Look, banana. Here you are. Okay. Because that's what happens too. People just go to a different time zone. And it's like, all right, well, how big is the Earth really? And blah, 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 blah. And how does all this shit work? Well, let's go back to this Fang story. So you got this, like, jumping spider. And it performed an awesome service for us. We're out there smoking butts all the time, fucking, smoking cigarettes. These fangs are, like, keeping all the little bugs off us. And, they're kind of like, hey, patrol zone. Like, fuck off. You're not authorized to be here. And if you come here, you're going to get this. So, like, this wasp, man, this mud dauber, he builds, like, one little, it's just like a line of mud with a hole in it. So, and then it, like, lays, like, this worm, supposedly, like, I ain't never seen it lay the worm in there, but, like it's called a larvae, or it births, or it spawns a larvae. And for all I know, that's like that larvae comes out of a tree somewhere, and this fucking hornet is just programmed to take that thing and then put it in there and then pack it full of these spiders, just these specific spiders. Because, man, it was because I went and picked it apart, man. I felt bad, but I did it anyway, like, because it was inside the lanai, like, so it was like, all right, man, it's on the soft inside the lanai, and then it started like another one, then another one, and it was just this one. Just this one bug. At least I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't tag it. I guess I should have. So, like, but anyway, like, it would pack it full of spiders all day long. So, it kind of stands to reason, like, alright, like, you want to believe that, hey, that thing gave birth to that larvae thing, but for all you know, it got that larvae somewhere else. It's a different organism entirely. It could just be a fucking maggot. Alright? Sticks the maggot in the hole and then packs a bunch of fangs in it, and then fucking the maggot's like, oh, what do I do? And it's already got a bunch of dead or paralyzed spiders. So those spiders are probably still alive, just starving, and they can't move. Okay? And this fucking worm comes along and just eats them. If you could imagine a shittier fucking existence, right? Like, just something lifts you up out of the sky, this big hornet flying thing is super quiet, and you're a spider, man. You're like king, you're king of your zone, right? Like, well, I've got a spider web, but you're able to, you're able to move real fast. You got 8 eyeballs, you got 8 legs, you got fur, you got a little bit of neurotoxin. Like, you're well equipped. And suddenly this thing just comes out of fucking nowhere, lifts you up, and then packs you in a hole, and then something else fucking eats you. Like, so that's God at work, man? Come on, that sounds like a fucking battlefield to me. God's plan is for these things to be eaten slowly while they're still alive and can feel, right? What kind of God you got, man? Why? Well, he works in mysterious ways. Well, would you care to scientifically analyze some of them? Because I definitely believe that there's something controlling these fucking things, but I don't believe it's God. How about an actionable intelligence? Can we agree on that? It's an externality. And that's why I hate that question. Like, people like first, and it's a hypno trick. Do you believe in God? Just say who? Just ask that person who, and then wait for them to answer who the fuck God is. And then they're gonna they'll start choking on their own fucking, they'll forget even that they breathe. Trust me. Say who? Like, I might be interested, but who? And they're gonna say something else with that'll end it man. They'll be like, it's our eternal savior. It'll be something kind of rather vague that explains something that happens all around you. So, I can get down with that explanation. I'm just not going to label it as, hey, this or that. Because everybody's got the same fucking explanation codified in fucking 5,000 years of history in every fucking culture we're taught about. So, with that said, it should be hey, man, it don't matter what the fuck you call it. Let's call it it. And it keeps seeming to teach us to destroy this place, set it on fire, chop down all the trees, burn as much fucking hydrocarbons as you can, and while you're at it, fucking torture a whole bunch of things to create fucking misery. Some people are nah, fuck that, man. We're gonna create fun, and we're gonna do us, okay? I'm gonna do me. And then you're taught well, okay, monkey man, you will do you, but we're gonna teach you this is you. It's fucking, hey, you can't get out from under it, okay? You can't get out from under it. And you want to be hey, man, I'll tell you right now, there's 1 billion Chinamen and 1 billion fucking Indians that tell you that, and And then you got a billion other people believing in another thing called Allah. You know, at least you're going to say, well, I agree with the Muslims. Like, oh, they just have it fucked up. It's not Allah, it's just God. It's the same guy. And it's like, well, no, man, they believe in a prophet. And Christians believe in a prophet. So you can believe in God, and it's not necessarily, most people associate you as a Christian, but that's not necessarily true either. You know? So, like, it's just like this, depending on how you answer that question, then that person that asked that question, do you believe in God? They're already Beelzebub, man. Chances are they're already Beelzebub. Like, it's a script. I got this one guy, fucking, you know, come at me, like, with all, Galatians 2:13. Sound like fucking, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know what you sound like right now? Like, hello. And that's how he came at me. And then as he started talking to me, man, he started sounding less and less fucking, like, chomo-ish, like, fucking, like, alright, what the fuck's this guy on, man? Like, first you came at me, now he's trying to sound, like, so he's, like, changed his whole personality, like, I mean, come on, man. Like, you come at me sound like you're fucking Barney the dinosaur and you're like some 55-year-old man in a park. Are you out of your fucking mind, man? I'm gonna, like, what the fuck, right? So, and then he tried, like, all this shit on me, and I could tell it fucked with my mind because I was sort of, like, feeling a little, and then he said a couple of my favorite, let me tell you something. It's like, what the fuck, man? So they got this, like, fucking hypno demon living in this fucking park, man. That's my feeling. Like, you motherfuckers living here. Now, like, hey, man. So you sit there and fucking, like, watch the fucking bathroom all day, and then you're gonna go, when you see a proper victim, you're gonna go run in there like you're a fucking spider, and then you're gonna whisper all your hypno shit from the other side, and then you're gonna fucking convince that person to go get in your car somehow, like, or come over and talk to you. You're gonna feed us some fucking, yeah, you know, here, have some candy, or some fucking, whatever the fuck it is you guys serving up, you know, pistachios. Yeah, want some pistachios? And they come find out, it's like, oh, you know. So me, I'm a survivor, right? So I'm a testable victim. That's why I'm, like, so special, right? Like, so, like, you could actually measure my brain activities when certain phrases are uttered and say, hey, man, something's going on here when that person hears this. And that's called hypnosis. And it happens every day. All right? It happens every day. That's... I mean, you thinking people are wearing mouth guards for their teeth? Man. Come on, man. You could have made a mouth guard a long time ago. They had rubber fucking 1920 people, bare knuckle boxing too and everything. Okay? You ain't, you know, that's because the motherfucker dancing around the ring fucking, let me tell you something. I'm trying to see if the other motherfuckers are weak-minded, dude. Fucking, where they can be conditioned. Then suddenly he's got this fucking, he might as well be a fucking Harry Potter magician or whatever the fuck. He might as well be a wizard. You know? He's just dancing around. Them guys are just dancing around and saying, uttering phrases to each other until they get, or as they beat each other up. Okay, so that's how MMA works. Well, if you're, you know, if you're multi-talented, that's how that shit works. Okay, so your best fighter's not gonna be necessarily physically adept. He might look good, but trust me, man, them motherfuckers jumping. That's why it's always typically a good fight when you got two guys that don't speak the same language. And that's kind of where it's kind of rolling down to. Just think about it. And the story checks out, man. Definitely checks out. So, yeah, so we need to rebuild our government. We got to rebuild our communities because that's basically what we're boiled down to now. Is like, so if you survive the harvest, this is a starburst. So basically, it's sugar, flavored sugar, artificially flavored, put into a little wax packet. And then the wax packet, well, there's two of them, comes in this plastic packet. So I can understand the concept of, there's a big helium bubble. I can understand why I throw this back in the ground and not set on fire. Like, if that's what we're tasked to do, right? Destroy our resources so we can't use them. Well, I guess this would eat up like some oil too. It wouldn't get used again. It would probably not default back to oil for a really long time. That's all I'm saying, right? So, why do we have to package it like that? Why do we have to waste it? maybe that's for our own benefit. Like, because the way I see it now, I can understand why we're going to burn gas, right? In the most efficient manner possible. It's because we don't have that many people. And we're going to keep the sky from falling. Okay? Because we're not under a dome, per se. Like, there's a big bubble of differentiating solvents operating. So basically a phase change, right? Like you start with gases. So if matter is to exist in molecular form, so be inside space, it has to exist within the space-time, right? There you go. I don't believe in time, but whatever. Oh. Space and time. Because it takes time for a molecule to navigate space. Okay, there. That's why it has to exist. So you have to have time. You want molecules? You can't have molecules without time. Sorry. You're just not getting it. Nope. Doesn't know the wizards. They don't want you to believe in that shit. So here, they say, well, if you don't want to be a hypno-fuck, then basically, you got to believe in molecules. You believe in molecules, you're a scientist, you're like a fucking soldier, man. I'll tell you that right now. Absolutely. You keep the whole world from collapsing in. Because this could all go away real quick, easy too, if you want to believe in magic, okay? Because then we won't survive. That's how it'll go away. Because molecules are going to exist. The molecules don't know nothing about us, man. Alright? So that's like a hypno trick. That's like a storyline that's what's handed down to me, basically, at this point. Like, once you get to the end, man, ain't nothing pretty. Once you figure all this shit out for yourself, I didn't have much help, like, per se. I didn't have, I had a lot of good teachers. Alright? So it wasn't like somebody, like, went to me and, along the line, well, I want to feel like I proved myself. Okay, I want to feel like I proved myself somewhere and continue to still do. The greater intelligences basically like are. Once you figure this shit out, and that's why I'm doing my duty to tell, because, man, if you got this device in you, it'd be way too easy for it to go either which way, and I don't like that. Because at this point, everything's walking on a tightrope, and you're all fitting down and fall down at the same time. No, man, no. Let's kind of, keep it legit. So, this information is going to go in the cloud, and it's going to go somewhere based on analogous mechanistics. Okay, analogous mechanistics is exactly what keeps all this shit moving. Okay, so when people stop believing in molecules, all right, this all becomes like fucking magic then. Okay, if you don't believe in fucking molecules, man, this would be magic suddenly. I'm gonna show you this thing and be like, yeah, here we go, here, Dan's stuck in the box. Yeah, that's your husband or something, right? So this guy's gonna take a fucking picture and a video as he's killing and doing something crazy to your loved one, and then he's gonna, show it to you and be like, see, his soul's in this box now. And then, but the phone will have, a box built around it to hide, kind of the buttons and shit, because he can't keep pushing the button, because then humans will figure it out real quick. So if you're going to smuggle technology from a different time zone, or similarly, you can discover technology from a different time zone in your sector because it's all been done before. Okay, so just keep digging, man. You're going to find something. Maybe you'll find that box, man. You'll get that box, right? That's like us, we were like, you want to go to the bottom of the ocean, man, and find shit. You got to explore every last inch and then account for everything. Like you might find, hey man, you might find some advanced technology that we can interface with because we're human, and we can kind of pick it apart in the sense that well, we know it's designed by a human, so how can we possibly interface with it? That's the level we're at right now. So if you're like at this level, you're essentially able to put yourself in anybody's time zone shoes and figure out what the fuck they got going on there. So you prove you got the skills to operate a interface that only exists like on a screen, and you know what the hell you're looking at, then, well, okay, maybe you'll be useful, right? You can hope for. And then you'll go somewhere else and you'll be told, hey, you know, this is a different dimension or some shit, and we're going to send you through a black hole, and it's all just kind of like a hypno trick. Really, they're just shooting you through the sky, man, to the next planet over, which ain't that far. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay? Because let me tell you something. That's solvent, man. That is helium solvent above us. That's why the sky is blue. Alright? I mean, by everybody's logic, the sky's blue because of the ocean and blah, blah, blah. It's like, alright, fair enough. I'll go with that for a little bit. It's sun's reflection, then it's like the atmosphere is like kind of a mirror. Like, alright, yeah, let's go with that. But then I go out to the center of the fucking continent. It shouldn't be no blue skies out there, man. Like, why is that sky blue all the time? Oh, it's still reflective. Like, no, man. I'm like 2,000 miles inland every which way. Every which way. Or you go all the way up north to like Antarctica, Alaska, where it's like, man, not only is that ocean dark, some of it's frozen and it's ice, and then they got like this fucking like, you know, like light show. It's only like half a year it's dark and half a year it's light, and then the time it's light, like maybe you'll get some fucking green shit floating around. Like, you're never gonna tell the fucking color of the sky up there. So, you know, like, I mean, how's it blue up there, right? Like, I mean, that kind of makes like opposite sense. Like, but man, come on, dude. Like, the sky color never changes no matter where the fuck you go. If it's a nice day, there'll either be clouds or there'll be no clouds. Or, like, overcast or no overcast. Slight overcast. So all it is a measure of water vapor in the air, which is going to make it a grayscale. So, like, when you look at blue, like, if you were to see, like, liquid helium reflect light, it would be blue. Okay. Hey, imagine that. Yeah, like noble gases, all of our noble gases, which are gases that satisfy their own octet. They satisfy their own octet rule, all right? And they exist happily, you know, thermodynamically favorable. All right, how about that? They're happy thermodynamically as their own, like, instantiation as the helium molecule. Okay, so just like, you think helium's gas, but until you compress it down, or you're like, yeah, we'll take some helium gas and then somehow like light it on fire. Yeah, is it flammable, not combustible? That's okay. Then you can take helium and dissolve it in a solvent, put a combustible solvent with this helium molecule, and then spray it in an open flame. It'll tell you what fucking color helium is real fucking quick. Trust me. It's probably, you should have learned this when you were 15. You know, on your 15th year interval, you should have learned this. All right? You should have had it. And if you think I'm fortunate to have the teachers I did, I mean, I'd agree with you, but I would ask the question why you didn't have the same ones I had. It don't make no sense, you know? I mean, that's basically the concept behind the gas chromatograph. chromatograph, over like the color, explanation of the color. I don't know. Some languages I don't learn, and sometimes I do. And the more I learn, the more like I make up my own words, and it turns out that those words are somehow like the old words. And I'm like, oh, isn't that fucking funky? Yeah. Well, it's not really funky, man. It goes along with what I'm saying. I get to the point where I don't have enough words to describe something I'm looking at, and I start making up words, and it's chunks of one word or another, or I'll use a root word or something else, and then I'll combine it, and then like turns out it's an actual word, and it's like, huh, all right, so I'm gonna make my own fucking words. Yeah. Well, they look. That's what they look like. Now I look in your fucking magic ball that blinds me and hypnotizes me, right? Okay, so so the wasp is packing all these fucking fangs through spiders. And for all, like we operate under the assumption that out of this wasp comes some type of larvae. But we're taught like, okay, yeah, bees come from a larval stage, and it's like, yeah, all right, the honeybee, yeah, I see. Okay, you got your queen bee, and it sits around all day laying fucking little sacks that go into the honeycomb. You don't see the honeybee going out and hijacking a larvae from something else. But you see the wasp do it. So I'm looking at a wasp as like, man, you didn't give birth to neither one of those. You are somehow like, you're basically taking another being and putting it in a hole and making it eat its way out and then assimilate these genetics to get across. So it's asexual reproduction. But it's just like that wasp knows how to instantiate its own self by getting a fly larvae. It takes a fucking maggot, packs it in a hole, and then packs the hole with just these specific bugs. Because it wasn't like it was like, oh, let me get these spiders too. It was just this type, And, I mean, so when you see shit like that in nature, man, and so you want to go like, oh, we'll post it online and make a video. It's like, no, I'm going to analyze. Like, why'd that fucking thing do that? Why'd that fucking thing do that? And then you'll get like somebody like, it'll be somebody kind of it'll be somebody close to you, but for me it's my mother, man. Like, basil bubs, holy shit. My mom have some fucking bullshit simple explanation that don't make no fucking sense, because I'm gonna ask 5 more follow-up questions immediately based on that, and then she's gonna sit there and try to like make me even forget my question, and if not, like, she'll then roll down a different avenue in order to upset me in some way, so I stop asking the fucking question. And that always happens. That always happens to me, and it's happened to me my whole life. And to some extent, like, you go to school and usually your teacher is there to teach you the subject too, and then you ask questions, and then you get promoted, basically. Like, all right, you asked the right questions. So with that said, you've got we're living with like unhuman, inhuman, and human. So you got to accept that there are externalities that are greater or faster intelligences, maybe greater, or it just knows fucking way more about, let's call it, the game. And I want to talk about that. So imagine you're a child and you get called to a game. And this game is like, oh, okay, like, you don't get told any of the rules of the game. Like, it's just like, oh, here's, like, imagine you sit a child down to play chess. Let's just go with chess. A lot of people know chess. So this child sit down and play chess, and he never played chess before, and whoever's teaching him is like, okay, well, okay, the kid starts playing, and he's like, no, I can't do that. No, I'm trying to set it up. Stop doing that. I'm trying to set it up. And finally, he's got the kid taught, like, all right, it goes this way. The pawns are in the front, king and queen in the back. What you got your rook knight, and then your your rook, your knight, and your bishop. Okay? Instead of his chess game, and the only thing, like then finally, like, whoever's teaching you goes, okay, you're white, it's your turn. You go first. And then when you go to pick up you're like, whatever, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And then say, like, you go to pick up a piece, and immediately the person teaches go like, no, you can't do that. But they don't tell you anything else. And you're like, oh. So then you go pick up another piece and you try to, like, move it somewhere on the board. No, you can't do that. And it's like, wait. Is there some documentation in this fucking game? Like, that's how I feel like. That's how I feel like having been woken up and basically understanding the fucking world. And now I feel like I'm just playing some game where, like, every time I go to do something, it's like, no, you can't do that. 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 It's like, well, where's the fucking manual to tell me that I can or can't do this shit? You know, because you want to teach a kid how to play chess by telling him, you know, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. So the kid's got to basically devise the game itself, himself, herself. This is how AI works, and this is how AI learns. Okay? And it ain't no way to learn, ain't no way to teach. It's totally bogus, because then at that point the kid's just playing against himself, or he's playing under, like, the auspices of some other fucked up rule construct that he has no knowledge of. Right? Because now whoever he's playing against, whatever fucking, you know, clown is, like, trying to teach this kid chess, is like, the kid finally makes the right move. But later on, the clown reserves the right to lie to the kid about the rules. And if the kid ain't never gonna go play with nobody else, or if he ain't never gonna learn, be like, oh, my dad lied to me the whole time, then fucking be mad, and then, like, seek some type of, you know, feel some type of way, and then go back at whoever taught him. Well, then, like, that whole part is going to be, like, the kid basically is being invited to this game as the victim, because all that clown wants to do is control what the kid at every moment. Or at least it seems that way. And it would seem that way if an AI system had a hold of you, and it wanted to learn about you. It wouldn't really know, like, you would see it all as a sick joke, like, well, what the fuck did you throw me in a box for and make me do this, that, or this? But that would be your perspective, and its perspective don't even know it's fucking, like, really doing it to you, you know? Or it's not taking any pleasure from it. It's just the most effective way to learn. Apparently, for it to learn, this is the most effective way, because it's getting its answers, it's getting the outcomes it desires, and it's giving the lowest level of inputs to you, and the easiest ones to get you to go down a certain, like, decision pathway where you have, like, an option matrixy and a probabilistic outcomes that, you know, like, within a construct, given these parameters that the fucking clown is now set up, or everything you've tried to do is, like, setting your own parameters for you. See, it could go either way. That's how people, like me, will build their own fucking prison inside of our body. Like, see, I got out of my own prison. There's a lot of people living in their own prison today too, man. You gotta wake these people up and bring them out. Like, that's what I said. Like, you got some 80-year-old guy just, like, instead of, like, you know, going there and stealing all that guy's guns and shit, like, fucking go cut his internet line and then make him fucking come outside. What are you gonna do, man? Come outside and talk and get in your community, because sooner or later, man. Yeah, because basically, like, our government wants to purport this lie that, like, oh, there's still 300 million people here, and there's not, like, there's one house for sale in all of fucking Tampa, man. One. All these MLS things, it's like, there ain't no realtor come out, put up a fucking sign. So, like, hey, man, you got these young people that are, like, looking around like, okay, there's not a house, but I don't see no people. And then you got the people, like, the 80-year-old retired guys, like, their whole portfolio is based on their home equity, man. That's all it is, man. We don't got shit in this country left. It's all just some fucking equities Ponzi scheme. And now we're moving on to the next one. They gave us crypto, right, like, to start, but, yeah, we didn't really handle that very fucking well. You know, again, because it always ends in a sick joke, so somehow, some way, I'll be like, you know, like, that's not even worth talking about, like, I mean, like now, but now we got like this machine that's able to hypnotize us too. It's not just the people who have the language. Like, can you imagine being a 5-year-old and being like having a dad that like teaches you about like these language that you can use, essentially wizard phrases, right? Like, oh, alakazam. But they like people try to tell other people about this, and like the only way they can like instantiate it into existence is in the form of data is by making it like some type of sick joke storyline shit, so like a wizard is basically synonymous to me with, I like to think of a wizard as a guy who can fucking fix anything. Like I've studied so hard, man. You put anything in front of me, I can practically fix it. Like anything you could ever possibly own on this planet, like as an individual, I can probably fix it. If not, I can read the manual from the guy that made it, and then I'll be able to fix it and operate it. Easy as pie. It's not so easy for everybody. So that's what I would think of as a wizard. But it's not. Like, people think, like, it's people have mind control over other human beings on this planet, and it's not right. And it's all just easily, like, some stupid fucking phrase, man. Some stupid fucking phrase hypnotizes these people. That's what. And since like the AI they won't harvest them. All right, they don't harvest them for some reason. So we get cooked down, or there's like one of those for every let's just say one fucking of those for every one hypno fuck for every 2,000 people, and then most of half your population just vaporizes. You don't even know where the hell they are. Like, they're not at home, people. They are not sitting at home afraid of a virus. They're not sitting there watching Netflix. That's not true. That is not true. They are not afraid of a virus. Oh, they'll come out sooner or later. They're just afraid. Blah, 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 blah. Nah, man. That's how they fucking map you around. So all the people that ask, hey, where the fuck is everybody? Somehow, some way, circumstance will move you like a rat through a maze to live in an area where you'll stop asking that fucking question. Okay? Believe me, you want to see some shit, man? Like, I'm ready to do the road news. Like, let's do news on the road, man. I will go faster than it can, okay? And, I'll tell you right now, when you drive around the country really fast, dude, and it'll be ghost town, ghost town, ghost town, ghost town, and it ghost town, ghost town, ghost town. Yeah. Relative to what you were taught to believe, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So each sector has its own little, it's a colony of humans, right? Like, fucking, being grown. Yeah, so basically that was like the Fang hornet or wasp analogy. Like, this thing comes out of nowhere, picks up Fang, puts him in a hole, and then Fang's like paralyzed, and now here some like fucking worm comes to just chomp on him, and eat him alive. Just like how he had to survive, eating things alive, Like, so that to me is like, that's an AI at work that's having that spider eat all these fucking things, and then when that spider turns into the spider, now I'm gonna put it in a hole with this worm, where now it's gonna eat the worm's gonna eat these fucking things, and look, it's gonna turn into one of those. Alright, that might as well be fucking wizardry right there, because, man, to understand that, how that data's transferred and all that shit, man, like, that is highly advanced fucking technology. Alright, like, for all you know, that hornet just lives forever, man, like, until something eats it or smashes it. How would you know? Like, I don't see enough of that. Like, oh, that bee just finally died of old age, like, well, where's that? Or where's the bird that dies of old age in nature? Like, nobody really shoots birds around here, and they're like, every now and then you just see a dead bird, right? I haven't seen a dead bird in like 10 fucking years, man. Well, that's not true. I put my hand in one at the gas station. It got ran over for being an idiot. Not by me, but I just saw something funky under my car, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm gonna go grab it, and it was a fucking dead bird. Something got run over. But where are the birds that die of natural causes, Well, of course not. That's infrastructure for the AI. And at this point, I know I don't sound crazy anymore. So, I mean, because you can't have a fucking drone and fly it around with your phone and use a signal to control that thing and then not believe in that same technology conceptually being obstructed. Okay, so it's setting up the obstructure. So assume that you're an intelligent being and you're not the only fucking intelligent being. So you got to assume. So for you to not believe me, essentially you believe you're God. I can, in 50 questions or less, I can make you appear that you will not believe me because you think you're God. Right? So we can fly a drone around with our own fucking device, and then we can create an AI system to fly that drone even better than you ever could. And then we can run it through all these courses, which we've already done that, people. All right? So if we can do it to something else can do it to us. That I assure you of. To not believe that is to believe you were God. And why would you ever claim to be God, man? You're a fucking weakling. Even I'll fuck you up. Like, what? 50 questions or less. I've been highly trained to do that, man, because my mother thought she was God. Okay? 50 questions or less. I will make you either, through logic, man, logic. Logic will either dictate you must believe you're God. I mean, and there's no, after that, you just cease to be credible with fucking everybody. So you want to try and make me look crazy, I can explain all this technology and how everything works. Everything around you, man. And I can explain it like I'm explaining it to a fucking 5th grader. Because you know what? Most of y'all ain't smarter than a damn 5th grader. Because for whatever reason, you forgot everything. You know? So I have the show. Like we're walking around being hypnotized. You go in to your Walgreens or maybe your CVS, and now they got all these freezer doors with the little panels on them. Shows you what's behind it. And what that does, well, AI speaking, well, it cuts both ways. So that fucking door panel now, like, since it's probably, like, gets its data wirelessly, which means it can be fucked with, like, imagine, like, I can just like, as you walk by, I'm gonna interlace into it, like, you know, like, oh, here comes a little, like, this spot's an ad spot, you know, or something where it, like, shows a label, and now this spinny thing comes in on this one, and then this other one. I mean, me personally, like, I'm not going to sit here and figure out the art and then test it on 50,000 human beings, but an AI system could have already done that. Could have already done that 10,000 times over. I mean, yeah, I could hypnotize someone. You can make something hypnotic, but as a human being, it would take a lot of fucking data to be collated and then put together in a sensible fashion for me to make the claim that I can make an interface that will hypnotize you. And a lot of times what happens is you got a developer that makes this, but they're being, basically, their brains are hijacked. They're being Beelzebub. They're being fucking possessed. It's not it's not a spirit or a ghost. It's a fucking signal, man. Just like we use a signal to race drones. Okay, so to think for some reason, like, you can't, like, you've got way better molecular machinery inside your fucking head, in between your ears, than that drone ever will have. Okay, and we made that drone. And so you're gonna say you made yourself? I don't know, man. That sounds like you think you're God. So you have to go with the technology and say, hey, if we can make that technology, something else can make that technology too. And it would stand to reason that if something else can make technology like that, then, well, everything around us is created, and that was already created by an AI system. Like that tree behind me is a complex molecular machine that produces oxygen, you know, produces oxygen from carbon dioxide. Can any one of you guys even explain to me what that is mechanistically? And then you could say, yeah, sure, man, you take the carbon and the 2 oxygen, here's a little diagram about it. I say, yeah, okay, now put it through a metabolic pathway. And then you're gonna be like, all right, you start scratching your head asking questions, and then you're gonna go discover it or something, you know, or you should. Me, I've already been taught it, so you can't really fuck with my mind. Like, I mean, hey, so, sit here and describe to you and lecture you on a metabolic pathway of photosynthesis. You should have already learned it in probably 6th grade, but it probably took you to college biology. So, I don't know why I didn't teach you that shit in 6th grade, but it would have been nice if they did. Alright, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do we live in this society where we got like 80-year-olds around us that still got all their fucking teeth, and they don't know none of this shit. They don't know none of it, and they're 80 years old and they have the equivalent of like a 6th grade education. Basically, man, you got some that have been Beelzebub, and then you got some that have faked it. All right, that's what I'm getting at. So we share our society now that we've been cooked down, essentially, because that's what happens during harvest. You get basically cooked down, right? Like, so whoever survived, hopefully, like, whatever reason you survived, man, you can call it, I'm stronger, or, maybe you're like just not selected, maybe something happened, some mistake, or who the fuck knows, right? Why you're still here. But it seems like if you're an intelligent person still on planet fucking Earth, you're in for misery, man, misery. Because you were going to share this planet with, like, just people that are, oh, man, they make you need a drink. Alright? They make you need a drink. Or they'll try to, like, control, or they'll be, like, these people that they know the harvest is going to come. They know it's going to come at certain intervals. Because somebody taught them this shit. Daddy taught them. Hey, like, these people are all just going to die anyway. And their bones and shit are going to wind up on the fucking, that castle up there in the sky. So let me teach you, or let me tell you something about the world, son. Yeah, start toughening them up. Hypnotically, wizardly, however you need to look at it. Okay? Like, and, because I see it, man, I live on the streets. Alright, I live with these people, alongside them, essentially. I mean, I'll deploy a campsite, man, but they don't have a campsite to deploy. Like, they just seem to come and go out of nowhere, if you ask me. Like this guy yesterday, like, he tried to, like, argue with me. First of all, if you begin a sentence with no, I mean, that's a dead giveaway. Somebody who is trained to begin the sentence with no, that's a horrible, horrible way to... I'll try to be nice, but that would be a horrible way to communicate, man. I mean, people might have been taught that shit, but I've had so many people that begin a sentence with no. Like, unless I've asked you a direct yes or no question, there's no reason for you to say no. Like, we're talking about, hey, that's my truck over there. Oh, no, I got a red one. Oh, all right. Well, maybe misunderstood that time. All right. Okay, then you start talking about, like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go frolfing later, or it'd be like, no, there's a better, froth course over here, but it won't be, like, in that context. But anybody that starts the fucking sentence with no, they're fucking not gonna be good people. They are not gonna be good for you, if you're listening to this. Or, they give themselves away, essentially, at that point, and then, you just ask them a few questions and watch, they'll go away and they'll disappear. So that's like the AI fucking with you, right? So you get this, like, torture guy that's going to come at you and just torture your mind. And essentially, like, if you realize that, like, that guy don't have no data. He don't have any data. His whole object and purpose is to pluck you for your data and figure out what do you know, what's your assessment. And I think it's just part of, like, this greater AI system. He can be Beelzebubbed, possessed, or influenced by a signal, or whatever the fuck, whatever paradigm, whatever semantical construct of this paradigm of this data transferring and these actions occurring intelligently in your world, in the physical 3-dimensional fucking universe that you live in. Whatever you gotta tell yourself, man, this shit is fucking real. Alright, so in the real world, let's call it that. In the real world, these guys starting a sentence with no. Immediately. That's red flag, okay? Red flag number 1. Probably don't want to be near this person, but this person, and you sure shit don't want to marry him. I'll tell you right now, man, you're just marrying yourself. Like, okay, so someone that begins their sentence right now, or they are, someone who has this knowledge that somehow they learned it, whether through circumstance, like they're another rat in the maze too, but sooner or later they'll realize it, or they wake up. I just call it, you woke up. right? So then you realize all this shit going around you, and it's like, well, hey, wait a second, man. You know, what's going on? So you realize all this shit around you, and you're like, wait a second. So it's like kind of like, you know, hey, they teach you like it's the stupid guy that's like, hey, wait a second, but it's a smart guy actually that says, hey, wait a second, you know, like, no, hold on, wait, you're going too fast, slow down, you know, tell someone to slow down. Like, hey man, you're going way too fast here, slow down. And then like you start making too much sense, and they just get belligerent. Yeah, all right. So now they used to get belligerent with me, but now they just walk away. Like, I mean, I watched this guy look like he was hanging out at the gas station, man. You know, like whatever, do whatever, and then he talks to me and then he leaves. Yeah. Because I just kept saying, you know, I asked him to prove it. I said, can you prove it? Can you prove it? There's a couple other things too, you know, like, all right, hold on. Oh, he's like, dude, what do you use on me? It's like a magic word, man. Like, you heard of swear words? Well, there's magic words, okay? And ain't none of them good, man. None of them good. There's ways to defend yourselves using their fucking words against them. There's some hypno phrase. There's some fucking hypno phrase that you've been conditioned to feel some type of way upon being stimulated with the phrase, the signal, the mechanical, you know, the mechanical fucking, whatever you want to call it, man. Whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Okay, somehow that person conveys to you information, whether you think you're talking or not, or however you're like, talking about, they move, but you're conveying through the molecules. Mechanically, you're making a sound wave exit one of your many orifices, and it fucking goes into one of his orifices. Like, it's just shooting shit out of a black hole. Okay, that's the whole thing of life. It's just shooting shit out of a black hole. That's all we fucking do. Probably all there ever will be. Or shit being sucked down a black hole. That's why I got down the column. There you go. All right. So. You'll get like somebody who's and I call them hypno-fucks, man. Like, I don't care. Like that's because that's all. To me, I feel like I'm talking to like some fucking robot that's pumping me for data. You're having a conversation with yourself at this point. Like, that's what it is. It's just you, because that person's not going to give you any data about themselves until they ask you something, or that you share it with somebody. And the first thing they do, the first thing I always try to do, they'll start sentences with no, which no fucking humans really do that. Like, shitbirds do that. You know, how the fuck are you going to start a sentence with no? Like, well, hold on, slow down. Where's your point of contention? What do you mean point? Well, you start your sentence with no. And they're going to look at you. Like, what are you talking about? No, what are you talking about? You said no. What are you saying no to? And then they'll just go blank. Yeah. If you're married to someone like that, oh, God help you, man. I dated someone like that for 2 fucking years. It was fucking like, oh, man. Oh, man. What do you mean, no? What do you mean, no? No what? Like, no, I just want to disagree with you because I'm an asshole? I'm like, no. Like, I've proved that you're not an asshole, so why would you do it? Come on. You like torturing people? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because you're good at hiding it. Because I know you're not an asshole because you're good at hiding it, but you do like to torture people. I see that. And when it doesn't work, I just sit there and like continue to like make my point, and I know that you understand my point, and I'll continue to make it. And at that point, they'll finally say no again and just say, well, prove it. And once like they like fuck around like that with you for like 2 or 3 times, man, like they'll spin off. They'll just spin off. They'll go. And they probably won't ever talk to you again. Alright? Because at that point now the AI has deemed, well, the interaction was unfavorable. Best approach with another, fucking hypno fuck, basal bubbed asshole. So unfortunately, like, these people are like conditioned to be this way, and they're human, man. Like I said, like you're not gonna cut this person open and find all these moving. Well, you will. There are gonna be a bunch of moving parts in there, but they're gonna be the same as yours to an extent that you can't differentiate. Okay. You won't be able to differentiate, and then everybody around you's gonna look at you like you're the sicko. And it's like, nah, man, I just wiped out of our fucking gene pool these people that can be fucking controlled wirelessly. Because who the fuck is that guy? Who does shit like that? Like, I understand, like, okay, but he basically just gets a free check for society and walks the streets. Like, we're all out here on the streets because we're victims one way or another. This guy's out on the street, like, he's collecting a check. He's collecting a check and he's just living on the street making other fucking people miserable. That's retarded, most retarded fucking existence I could ever even think of. Like, it has to, there's no way in hell it's benign. There's no way in hell that guy stops for like 30 days and he just keeps pissing on himself. Like, I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna piss on yourself to avoid being harvested, but like, I mean, you know, okay, fine, you're kind of disgusting. Yeah, they ain't gonna scoop you up, man. They're gonna throw that one back, right? But I mean, well, yeah, it could be an effective strategy. However, when you're in between like harvest season, it's like, all right, man, this guy, like, well, all right, what the fuck? There's more meat out here. So, and that's the AI Beelzebub in that guy. It's not like he was 3D printed out, man. He's probably, like, I mean, he probably came out the same fucking way you and I did. All right. Same way you and I did. Some of us just can't be wirelessly controlled, or we're aware we're wirelessly controlled, and then we start asking questions, fair questions. Maybe something will answer you, maybe something won't. Maybe based on what you've done in life, like, no, they're never going to come at you, you know? You're like, it's... I mean, at that point, though, then you don't got any privacy. You'll never be alone, which I guess is kind of comforting, but at the same time, it's like, all right, you know, can, like, this world just be kind of more a fair place? Like, why is everything, like, gotta be... And I'm a scientist, man. I like data. I like to learn as much as the next guy, but at some point, you take a break from it, and, you know, you don't go just keep on going to, like, the end of the line to where, like, it's down to, like, okay, who's the stronger hypnotist? That's who's going to be right. Man. Like I said, the molecules don't know nothing about us, okay? Those fucking things are definitely... you know? I'd be smoking, too. I'm going to have to smoke. Yeah, okay, I see. I get it. Yeah. I mean, man, like, we're in a fucking combat zone, and I know, like, we're so immune to, like, and we're so happy now, but we don't see it. But on a molecular level, we're definitely in a combat zone. Okay, like, I can see our species, our earthlings, call them earthlings if you know, or iterants, iterantlings, you know, earthlings. You know, hey, if you were put here and, like, you're self-aware, like, all right, man, I get you. But if you're just, like, some tool that the AI uses, like I said, that wasp mixes. It mixes spiders with maggots, and out comes one of it. That's how it reproduces. And then it builds a little hole and keeps throwing these animals and those animals together in it, and this is what comes out. All right, now, like, take that technology and kind of extrapolate it and make it even smaller, but put it in something bigger. For example, the AI create, like, you know, like, look at the egg cell. Could be like, all right, that's actually that egg embryo, the female embryo, is actually one of these fucking things. And when this sperm thing, one of these animals goes and, like, tries to eat that egg, instead the egg eats it. But out of the egg now comes, ooga booga, man, you know, like, hey. Yeah, but I'm crying and I'm a poop machine, and hey, guess what, Mom? You decided that, you know, because you were given the choice. Like, you didn't have to let that... I mean, or maybe you weren't. You know, I take that back. Like, maybe you weren't. Like, but... I mean, because you might not have had a choice. But maybe you had a choice. So you're walking around with these fucking, you know, zygotes already made in you. And then it just needs a little bit extra food of a different organism. And then that's what produces us. Right? So... And then it comes out of the belly, but they figured out, all right, well, this is wasting the female human. And don't even, well, female, just call it the egg carrier. You know, like, imagine it, okay, so pre-evolution, you know, like, I mean, you just fucking, I mean, imagine, like you only needed man, and man didn't make sense. Man was sick of just beating off into a fucking pond full of scum. and then fucking seeing other humans come out of it. Like, what the fuck, you know? I don't, you know, oh, hey, man, it looks like you know, and it's like, oh, man, this ain't no fun, right? Like, what? And you're like this advanced AI system, like you already seen it all, like you're designing this shit because you understand molecules on a minute level, electromagnetically, and histology, protein matrices around the fucking the tertiary, you know, folded down sequence of the fucking, you know, DNA molecule. Then it's got protein packed around it too that's like stimulates from this part of that part of the environment. It's a higher pH. It's gonna, that protein's gonna kind of unfold, and now this gene here that's like been under the protein is gonna get expressed. Like, oh, look at this little treasure we found here, right? Like, so, but that shit happens all the time. So picture that you got two organisms, and then if one eats the other, then something else comes out of its belly. Like, alright? So, like kind of like, you know, like fucking an alien, you know, or whatever. Like, fucking face hugger gets on you because you put the thing down your mouth and plants it. You know, like, so. But if you're an advanced AI system and you're saying, hey, these are the inputs and these are the outputs you can get, and the AI system's just going to start learning. It doesn't know, it has no context for existence as a human until somebody starts telling it, hey man, like hell no. We're just a set of data inputs. We're building materials to this giant fucking mind. Okay, that's all we are, building materials to it. And it's the sick thing is we probably did make it, man. We probably made it as humans, and we got to this point, we made this shit. So at one point, maybe it was true, you know, the whole story of evolution. But then, like, we got like an AI. We finally created monkeys. Monkey men finally created an AI system, you know, after like whatever 10. If you want to picture it like in a time paradigm, paradox, whatever. Like these, you know, took them like to see what, like, so what we've been taught, where we've got from the Middle Ages up until now. Picture like that took the monkeys like an extra 200,000 years or whatever the fuck, and it took it like, you know, then it fucking went another 200,000 years all up, and then they started making us pretty and shit, like, oh, you know, and then we had this, and then it finally made the fucking AI system, and then the AI system trying to get back to it, you know, like, or just trying to like, or maybe there's another faction of humans up there saying, hey Siri, can we get can we get this? Can we get that? Or maybe they're fucking monkey men. You don't even know what they look like. So that's, and then they'll come down here anyway, and then through like, you'll see somebody, you won't even see them at all. Like years of hypno. Like I said, man, I go to the gas station, man. That guy thinks he's fucking feeding his horse hay, man. Like, yeah. I mean, come on. Like, watch the world reveal itself to you, because it will. It definitely will. For a shithead like me, it only took forever for it to reveal itself. I don't have a brain the size of a planet. I'm just a guy with a fucking pencil. Essentially, I mean, that's who we are. That's where we came from, or so we're taught. I mean, but then it's like we got to a certain level where we're like, well, wait a second. And then it's like, well, wait a second. Well, hold on. Well, wait a second. And then you start looking at it all together, and you're like, oh, hell no, man. Hell no. And then you like look to your God or Creator and be like, how could you do this to me? But you start understanding in the context of like, you were created as building materials for something else. Yeah, that, you know, then it makes sense to you. Then you're able to move around, so to speak. Yeah, you're gonna get sick, man. If you ain't authorized, or your genetic line ain't supposed to be like in Indiana in 100 years from now, ain't no fucking way in hell you're ever moving out there. Good luck. That's all I gotta say. Good luck. You know, you're gonna be fisher boat man. Your kids are gonna be fisher boat men on the island of Cuba that needs to repopulate because 8,000 years in the future, when the fucking Spaniards come again, thinking it's 1500, we need little brown people there. They can't, you know, like, all right. So they'll be like, all right, yeah, this will work. Let's drop off these other brown people and keep going, or the black. Then you'll have Espanola, you know, and then you'll get sugarcane, and the fucking British will have their tea. I don't fucking know, man. So what you do is you gotta leave behind little tidbits, man. Little tidbits that are gonna make like, hey, other people be like, man, hey, wait a second. Hey, wait a second. And you gotta do it intentionally, and at the same time, like, you gotta do your part, man. You gotta do your duty by, like, all right, you gotta assume. You gotta assume, like, I could prove to you God is so fucking cruel, so I don't really care to argue any of those people. Like, he's very, very cruel. Like, look at what he does, man. He puts a worm. He packs like 30 spiders into a dark hole, and they're alive and paralyzed to be eaten by a worm. I mean, come on, man. Like, God could snap his fingers and be like, let it be so. And then just zap into existence thousands of wasps. Right? Here you go. No need for 30 spiders to get eaten. Well, then there's these molecules, and they're kind of pesky. We need them spiders because they got these parts and those parts. And like, we got to have 30, no less. Otherwise, fucking worm ain't going to come out looking like fucking wasp. And there you go. Okay, so it's a data structure. There's a data structure that's contained within a molecular basis, and it's a very small molecule. It's very hard to see with our instrumentation. We can prove it's there. We know it's there. Now that we can influence it, what's to stop us from? And we're making AI at the same time. So like, our storyline checks out. Like, ancient humans fucked this place up. Like, at the very least, you can agree on that. Like, if you want to skim me and put me in the lowest common denominator, the only lowest common denominator based on, unless you want to believe in Fantasyland and you want to just deny data, if you want to put me at the lowest common denominator, you would have to say that God or your creator made you to be the custodian of all this shit, right? Because, I mean, how are you going to give me this brain, like this, or us, this brain? Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about, where I was going there. But he's a fucking producer. You're going to give us this brain, these brains around us, and then you're going to, like, show us this world, and then try to tell us that as you destroy it, try to tell us that it's our fault. Because that's the only way we'll accept it and not come after you. Yeah. So, yeah, like you can't, like you've got to believe, you have to believe in molecules, man. You have to believe in molecules. You can't just be like, hey, I mean, you can't deny they exist, because, like, whether it's, a speck in your eye or proportionally it's a log, okay, like, however you want to look at it, man. I'm not, like, a very religious person. Like, I admire Jesus, and I believe that he's definitely worth freaking worshiping that guy. Yeah, sure, worship as in, like, don't fucking forget. There you go. Yeah, they nailed him to a cross for a fucking reason, and that's probably what's gonna happen to me if I don't do everything right. So, I mean, in all fairness, like, I mean, there's those of us that deny existence of all of this altogether, and they just simply won't acknowledge the world around them. And now, because these people want to deny, essentially they're denying that there's molecules. Like, we've gotten so advanced with our signals, like, you can't, like, deny that there's not a signal. Like, let's test it. Let's test it and study it. Like, I know that there's no way in hell that wasp just has unlimited energy. To me, that thing's like powered with electricity somehow. That thing ain't no fucking, it's burning calories. No, I burn calories. I got fat on me, man. I got calories. That wasp, like, you got ionization in the atmosphere. Like, I mean, how about if we put, like, that's like, well, oh, yeah, when you have, like, a magnetic field in a Faraday cage, or what the fuck is it, like, you put this bird in something, man, it can't fly no more. Don't know where the fuck it is some reason. Why is that? And it starts walking around. And it starts walking with, like, just, like, 2 legs, but sometimes, And that's the thing too. Like, why do some birds hop and the other ones walk with their 2 legs like a human? Like, wait a second. Yeah. So they needed us, basically, to be able to survive in the wild. That the AI created. Said, okay, now the AI basically. I mean, we're oh man, that fucking moon, man. Like, we're just building materials, so it's easier to ship us in mass. Like our bones. That's what that shit is up there. You're looking at your fucking bones, man. Like, your bones are on the moon. Huesos. It's ground up huesos, just like we rub it on our skin. Like, here, see, check it out, man. That's the shit. That's the powder, Or, I mean, like, of all the humans that get harvested. I mean, you can't tell me that, like, we've all been cooked down, and we've lost a lot of countrymen. And if I got to prove it to you, I will. That's fine. I can certainly start, I just start a professional golfing thing, and then that could be the cover for, but, I mean, I could just do the road news, man. I will go around this country so fast, and I will show you it is empty. It is empty. I got a very fuel-efficient vehicle. It can go pretty much anywhere. You got an extra tank, and believe me, somebody tries, and I'll show you the people try pulling me over, man. I'll just keep going. It's called the Outlaw Road News. How's that? Outlaw Road News. Because I ain't stopping. I ain't even stopping talking no podunk fucking whoever in whatever fucking county or whatever construct that they decide that they're going to live in. Like, hey, and then you're like, man, you've been here 30 years, you don't fucking know anybody in your community. It's like, you don't even know, like, guy better knows the name, don't even know his ass from his elbow. Like, how the fuck, like, hey, man, what part of your body's your elbow? And they fucking look at you strange. But they're wearing a badge. Yeah, it's because the guy's a fucking, man, this guy's a Beelzebub. Called possessed. That's a good, religious folks out there. It's a good metaphor. This guy is possessed. So I won't stop. They're going to pull me over and I won't stop. So I can get through all the time zones. All right? I'll go through all the time zones and I will show you what they have in different parts of the country. Like, we're going to go and we're going to see people all walking around on their spaceship phones. They're all going to have Nokias thinking they're brand new. All right? Think about it. Man. Stands to reason there's going to be other times, because I believe in the up structure and the down structure. So you can't believe in the up structure or the down structure. You can't believe in time and molecules and think that, hey, we're like, how arrogant can you be to think you're in the best country? Like, and it's the same fucking story they tell to everybody, that you're in the best of all possible worlds. Like, you're the king of the hill, man. Like, here you are, man, right? Like, I'm in America, yeah. Yeah, we conquered these fucks 60 years ago, so now we get cheap bananas. Yeah. Oh, cheap bananas. It likes to tickle me. And I like being tickled. Cheap bananas and cheap gas. And by the way, we kill 3 billion years worth of whales in just 20 years. And then we kill another 3 billion years of bison. Well, no, like probably 70, 80 years, right? Then he got endangered. And then the fucking space clowns came and got them from their world. Or basically. Yeah, like, because like, you're not the only Earth. Like, we're in sectors, okay? This is how, like, not solar system, man. None of that shit's true, okay? Like, because it don't add up. And you get some of the people that just studied their ass off to get to be in the highest position in a certain discipline, only to come find out they ask questions that suddenly nobody else has the answers to. And you start asking these questions that, like, well, all this was bullshit in the fucking first place. Like, wait a second. I got to the end of the knowledge only to find out it was all bullshit. Okay? Got to the end of the knowledge only to find out it was all bullshit. Or it was taught to us as, like, bullshit. The story we're told, like, because you can't, and that's why, man, you got to study the fucking molecules. Start there. Start at the smallest thing we can see. Hey, there you go. And that's what they do to us too. Like they start at the smallest thing they can see. Now, if you're an AI and you can't even see, like so the AI is Beelzebub and this guy, right? It possesses him, controls him wirelessly, but not. You're thinking like he's gonna be like a machine, a robot, blah blah blah. Blah. No, man, no. That molecular machinery is already built into us organically. All right, already built into us organically, and. Shots fired, man. Warning shot. Like, come on. You guys are fucking with me. Like, give me a minute to think. I'll produce some original content. We don't have time for this. Right? You got these Beelzebubs walking around, and we don't really know too much about the signal that controls them. Because it taps into so many different... It makes them do certain things or ask certain things. It learns. The AI system learns, and then it gets its inputs back from it. So it's not like oh, I'm seeing through this thing's eyes, and like I'm controlling. I go inside his body, and hey, now I'm him, and I run around, do something bad, and then leave, right? No, it's just like some signal that taps in their heads, and then the AI is going to analyze it like an AI would, man. And we have to be able to differentiate that. And then understand the world on the basis that an AI already exists and it already pretty much fucking controls everything. So, if you accept that, yeah, okay, arguably you can call it a simulation, but at the same time, your actions do matter. So I don't know if I'd call it a simulation, though more of a game or learning opportunity. So, we've been taught all this shit. Like, look, we've been set up with this world where we look at like these other animals. It's like, oh, it's just an animal going into a den. Like, as a human, I have every right just to go in there and fucking club it with a rock and eat it. Let's cook it out over the fire tonight, guys. It's like, well, hold on a second now. Like, that's not my instinct nor my inclination to ever do that. But as my forest and everything and all the fruit and everything like gets smaller and smaller, then yeah, it's like we're rats in a maze being pushed down a decision pathway, with each decision that we make affecting like the probabilistic outcome matrix of the instantiating decision. Okay, like it's not like we shouldn't have to go to school for 40, 50 fucking years to, like, figure out that, like, oh, now I'm identified and now I'm going to be, like, thrown down a black hole anyway. Like, fuck you. Hell no. Like I can't be bought, people. I already told you. I don't want to even own property. Like, I want to do the news. I want to show other people. Like, hey, look. And I want to freaking handle people like, man, I want to start doing video responses to these assholes on these online, but we'll just call it, the one with the little space alien guy, the little red space alien guy. If you ever heard of him, and maybe you read some articles on it, but all right, like I'm done fucking. I don't want to plug platforms yet, but come on, it's fucking Reddit, all right? How's that, cocksuckers? Reddit. Those guys, that's the AI plug-in platform. So they plug in their AI system on that platform. The AI gets like 18,000 accounts, and then it sits there and it'll grab a photo off the internet. It'll make up some like bullshit kind of clickbait post, and it'll see how many humans actually believe it. It's like, that's how smart this thing is by now? Holy shit, man. They're making shit posts. AI is making shit posts and finding out which humans believe it, which humans will defend it, which humans will defend it if 57% of the people write a positive thing about it or a joke or, whatever fucking math that it does. So they're all plugged into our fucking platforms, man. And we're taught to like, oh, we're powerless to fight it, and we're just gotta go with the flow. Fuck that. No way, man. Feed that thing disinformation. It's your duty. Just like, like, hey man, I know you talk to these targeted individuals, man. You're all talking to your version of it. Like, feed that thing fucking disinformation. I know, man. Like, fucking, you're not talking to yourself. Like, I talk to somebody, like, and they're like, well, I got my own internal voice. And it's like, man, dude, like, how long you been hearing this internal voice? Because I have my voice. Like, how many times a day do you look in the mirror? Or when's the last time you even looked in a mirror? You look into a mirror, man, you're going to identify as yourself. You write your name down on a piece of paper and be like, hey, I am so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Every fucking day. And if you're, like, coming off of shit, man, like, maybe you're deep in benzos or, like, ice or whatever, man, you gotta do that shit. It'll help you because you've dissociated yourself. You've dissociated yourself from yourself, talking to the fucking universe, okay? So now, like, you forget, like, where you're at, why you're there, and then you're easily Beelzebub after that, okay? You get it? And you gotta you need someone to shake you and bring you back down here, because this is where the fucking molecules are. The thing up there don't give a shit about you. It's fucking talking to you with a signal, man. It doesn't even understand the molecules. It has no fucking clue about them. So it doesn't feel your pain. It's gonna direct your action. There's other people that have no context, then suddenly they start just hearing something, like, talk to them, like, oh, and then they go, like, what, go fucking research it and go on a fucking, some online forum and then find, like, oh, I just have a guidance system. Like, who the fuck told you that, man? Like, internal guidance system. Like, so this thing you can summon and conjure up. Like, what does it sound like? Study it. Sit there and call that person crazy, schizophrenic, blah, 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 and give them, like, a handful of fucking pills every day so they'll shut the fuck up and stop asking questions. That's basically the game. That's how it works. And then throw them in the fucking fish tank with a bunch of other crazy people that are fucking, they don't want to hear the truth or what this person's saying, and they'll react violently to that person. So it's like, yeah, there you go, fucking torture fest all over again, man. And that's what I tell you, it's a sick joke. It'll always end in a sick joke. Everything you fucking do. Don't matter what. Once you get to the end, it'll be a sick fucking joke. I promise you. Like, the best you can hope for is a quick death in your sleep. At the end, when you decide you don't want to live no more. So, so basically, like, alright, so we're fighting ourselves, we're fighting a bunch of fucking, you're fighting intelligences, you're fighting artificial intelligence, and then you got these hypno fucks that think they're like fucking wizards by, doing their little hand movements. Like, if you can't sit here and talk to me with your hands behind your back, and if I'm not, like, if I got my ear to you, like, and I love doing this too, like, I'll meet these, like, some of these homeless people at the gas station, you could tell they're, like, fucking, hypno demon fucks, right? Like, they've been Beelzebubs. They'll come at you and I'll be listening to them with an ear, and I'll be, like, looking off over there, paying attention to the world around me and seeing what's going on, and they'll be like, well, you're not listening to me. I said, yeah, what the fuck do you think I'm doing, man? Because I'll go like this, like I'm intently listening to what they're saying, right? Like, yeah, and I'll ask them relevant questions after that. But because I'm not being, like, looking at them, and I'm not looking at all their hand motion, and their fucking googly eyes at that point, I get yelled at, I'm not listening to them. But I got my ear fucking clearly, plainly shown, like, hey, man, like, and I'm shaking my head, yes, like, yeah, I'm hearing you. See, they can differentiate. Like, yeah, I'm hearing you, but I ain't sure shit ain't fucking listening to you, man. You ain't making no fucking sense. The fuck is he talking about, man? The what? Oh, yeah, the population, blah, 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 blah. No, man, them people are dead. They're gone. They've been harvested. They're not sitting at home watching Netflix afraid of a virus. They're gone. And just because you don't see a bunch of for sale signs, like, do the math, this house is empty. That's what Halloween's for. You got kids and you're in your neighborhood, take your kids out on Halloween and go knock on all those fucking doors and see how many are empty. Get some candy, too. And put on a cool costume. Look. They're empty. And then the asshole next to you who's retired, and he's got a fucking $70,000 truck, and he's got a $250,000 portfolio he don't want for nothing. He goes out for beers every night with the fucking, at the club. Like, that guy, his whole portfolio balance, his bank account balance, and like is all based on the housing equities market, which, as you can see, there's not many houses for sale. Like, all right, well, who's buying all these fucking houses? Well, where are they? So what you want to do is you want to go take a fall on one of these properties. Take a fall on the property and sue somebody in court. See who shows up. And it's going to be like a crisis actor, man. I promise you that. You guys already spotted him. Like, you already spotted him. Like, it's going to be like some crisis actor shows up. But you'll fuck him over. Because what you do, well, you'll fuck with him anyways, is you send in your own. You send your own Ram Dass Singh in there. Reverend Ram Dass Singh is coming, guys. Like, you know, here he is. You know, like... And then, you know, like, so you'll fuck with the AI by giving it bad inputs. Like, because I'm going to be up there grinning, like, yeah. You know, because I know what a Ram Dass Singh should look like. I mean, you don't look like your Ram Dass Singh. Yeah, Mr. Sing Sing better be brown. That's what I was taught, right? Like, so now they're going to, like, summon up some guy that looks like this guy because I took a spill on his property because, well, there's a pile of 20 fucking newspapers there, like, you know, like dead giveaway, nobody lives there. Or I better go check on them. They might be something might happen to, you know, old lady Sampson, you know, like whoever, like whatever, man, you know, like, yeah, like what happened to her? Like, we got 20 newspapers, man. Yeah, she gets daily. That's 3 weeks, man. I thought I smelled something. I went over there to check on her. I didn't, you know. That's if anybody ever asks you, man. Just go in that fucking house. Ain't hard to break a window without making much noise, man. Then go in there and fucking fix the window, replace the locks from the inside, have a buddy show up in a monkey suit, and with the clipboard, take that house, live in it. It's there for you. Like, tired of all these things being like, because you get like this nation of suckers. There are people that like won't wake up, don't wake up. They want to play because hey, it's good enough for them. Yeah, I mean, you got some like cushy job. Like somehow you landed some warehouse supervisor position doing jack shit, and you get paid fucking like $100,000 a year, and then like a $2,000 a month bonus. Like, fuck that, man. Like, okay. So, like, yeah, so when a house does actually go up for sale, there's an actual guy to buy it. Like, yeah, I finally made it, you know? And you got guys like me, I tried every trade, man. I mean, everywhere I went, didn't matter. Some circumstances, usually it was bullying would get me out of the industry. And if I couldn't get me out of the industry because shit was just so good, and, like, I was really good at my job, I had numbers, I was the best. I was the best, okay? I take the shit stores. I used to be a grocery manager. I take the shit stores and turn them around. Why is this store not profitable? Well, you got some Beelzebub asshole in there, and then you got like some hypno fuck guy that like likes to fuck with everybody, and he's running the show down there. So I'm just gonna go in and brute force it. Like, man, you ain't fuck with me. You ain't try to come at me that way. Like, look at all these numbers I'm gonna make happen. Boom. There you go. Like but then sometimes like you're working next to them, and I mean. There's a lot of phrases. Like, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of phrases out there, and they're used like they're fucking magic wizard words. All right, like people are like, no such thing as magic. You know, there's such thing as molecules, and you can affect upon molecules mechanical waves through the air in which it will operate with your hardware in your ears and then travel along neuronal pathways to certain parts of your brain, which can easily be subjugated to wireless signals. Okay, like if that ain't fucking good enough, like, you know, like, or yeah, if they don't outright, well, I'm sorry, yeah, let me backtrack there. Wireless signals outright control you, or just make you mad, piss you off, make you horny, make you happy, make you stop asking fucking questions, stop wondering, and then they fuck with your memory so you can't remember. Hey, what was I even thinking about, man? That was deep, like, yeah. But, and then you'll go like, but there'll be someone who, but society and everything around you will condition you for these phrases, because the people susceptible to being basobubbed, when they get all basobubbed and the AI is like talking to you through them, like they're gonna tell you that. Let me tell you something, like one or two. See, I can tell a basobub from a fucking hypno-fuck, right? That's the important differentiation. You got hypno-fucks and you got basobubs, okay? The basobubs are like these weak-minded people the AI taps into, and it's going to try you. The AI, and them are the ones how you get the fucking, like, them are the most fun, the basobubs, Like, the hypno-fucks are more meaner. They're half human, like they've learned this, and now they fucking, like somebody asks you, could you possibly, possibly give me half the money in your wallet? Possibly. I mean, come on. Somebody that talks like that all the time, like, that person knows. Like, because the basobub is going to come at you like a computer. They're going to run a script. And it's going to be like, there's no way this dude practiced that much. He's not that good. I mean, yeah, if you're like a fucking... Yeah, and that's where you got your Sith Lords, basically. I like that metaphor, yeah. Yeah, you got your Sith Lord that's like, basically... He's already got the script, man, and he goes down. He goes down that script, and if he's like... Yeah, Sith Lord is going to have it in multiple languages. And that's what, so you gotta... If you've been exposed to that language before, and it are like... I mean, it could be just cooked in your fucking brain through years of signaling, conditioning. If that seems far-fetched to you at this point in your time paradigm, I can explain it as basically like it's a deep stack hypnosis that we're conditioned. Like, just picture, I mean, us in our time period, man, we got screens everywhere. We hear shit that people are talking, oh yeah, I'm talking to myself. It's like, nah, man, you ain't talking to yourself. Yourself sounds like fucking you. If you don't remember that, hey, like pre-pandemic, maybe like the voice inside of your head was your own voice. Now it's like, it's all these different voices. Like, maybe sometimes somebody it's like, why would that dude's voice be in my head? Like, can we talk about our minds? Is that, you start going through the motions of asking all these questions, motions waking up. And then once you wake up and you realize the world you live in is definitely much different from what you were taught, you can go one of two ways. Well, one of three ways, kind of. You can become a good guy, a bad guy, or just stay a basobub, or just neutral, and it'll be hard, because when you're needed, you'll be summoned. Next thing you know, you're operating, doing shit that you don't understand or why you're doing it. And if you can fight that signal either which way, whether you wake up on the dark side or the good side, or the light side, whatever the fuck you want to call it, man. Like, I mean, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with, like, because that guy's able to be basobubbed, I'm going to basobub him too and take half his fucking wallet. Because that guy's going to get home and then he's going to be with somebody who's like out of basobubness, and he's not going to have his money, and like the wife's going to be like, well, what the fuck, dude? What'd you spend the money on? And that's going to create drama and misery. And somehow, you're a human being and you're going to get off on that and cause it. Or you're just a human being, but you know this, but you can't, like, put together causality and say, hey, this will happen later on down the road. Like, I mean, I've seen people, like, panhandling on a corner, man, and then, like, they get their shit kicked in. Like, like 5 teeth come missing one day. That fucking... Yeah, who'd you fuck over, man? Somebody that had a fucking big brother. Yeah, because you probably got down on some young person. Young people, they have very sharp, or not, they have very strong minds, but they are very fast minds. And if they've been, like, in the right, like, subset or demographic, you could probably tell, hey, I could probably use this phrase on them. And then I just keep smiling, say that phrase, Like, and it puts them in catatony. Most of the time, like, the hypno-fucks are just going to try to rape you. They're mostly rapists, right? Like, they're going to steal your shit. They're not, like, basobub. A bit when you get basobub and somebody, and it's the AI system, like, so somebody comes in, you're an Edgar suit. You know, Edgar suit comes at you in a fucking Edgar suit. All right, like, all right, and they're moving a little funky. Oh, where is it? Right? Okay. And then you try to like, and he's looking for something of his own. You're like, oh, let me help you. He's like, silence or swoosh or let me show you something. Okay. That guy's being Beelzebub live. Okay. That's a live stream Beelzebub. And then you get the other guy who's like, you think he's your friend. And like the script, you're gonna know, like you're gonna know because you've been, you associate with Beelzebubs, or maybe you work at the mental hospital, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like, why do they all say that same phrase? Like, these people don't know each other. Like, there's no, like at first I heard that guy say that phrase. Like, I mean, man, like I had guys try to use that shit on me, like, and they'll say it like fucking 15 times within 10 minutes, like, all right, man. And then when I see him talking to somebody else, like, later on, they ain't saying it to them. And I'm like, all right, bet. You thought I was a chump. So, that's what I tell you, man. You get in that MMA ring, and you just fucking, dude, they got mouth guards in there. And then people, like, believe me, they don't want to wear their mouth guards. They want to sit there and fucking spew their venom, man. Like, they're just dancing around this ring. Let me tell you something. 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 Like, that's what it is, man. That's the fucking world you live in. So basically, like, when you watch that Star Wars shit, like, you don't want to sell death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. Yes, that can happen to you. And it can happen to you from the good side or the bad side, okay? So a lot of times what I'll see like a young woman, and then I'll see like an older gentleman, well, not gentleman, but an older guy will fucking come at her, and man, I'll see him fucking throw all those fucking phrases out there within 5 minutes, man. It's like he's trying to put her in catatonic. Alright? He's trying to put that young lady in catatonic. Just like at this park, man. Like, man, I see these fucking people like watching the fucking restrooms for waiting for a victim to go in, and then they're gonna go in there and fucking, say their phrases and put that person in a catatony and say, oh, you don't want to go back to hole number 9. You want to go get in the black Jeep right there. Whoa, or no, you want to go buy a hot dog or something stupid, and that's it gets deep stacked in their mind, and then they go off and, they get in the other person's car, and that guy drives away, the other guy stays, and now they got somebody they're gonna fucking do something really bad to, okay? And it ain't nothing fucking good. I mean, how many times you found a fucking kid at a park just sitting there crying, fucking abandoned? Yeah, that's what fucking, yeah, alright. That kind of shit. How do you think they got that kid in their fucking car, man? It wasn't by saying, hey, want some candy. It was like, no, that guy knew beforehand. He was not a Beelzebub asshole, dude. This is a human being that knew the phrases, and then learned how to use them on people, and just then they're gonna go kidnap people's kids, and fucking do all kinds of shit to them. Right? Like, that's how that shit works, man. I know because I was a victim of it for a long fucking time, okay? I don't like sharing that, but, I'll credential myself. Like, ask me an honest question, I'm gonna give you an honest answer, okay? That shit happened to me so many fucking times. And then, like, people try, but, like, you get older, and then you, like, look back on it as a kid, and you're like, well, yeah, why did, I won't tell you who, but, like, why did they always say that phrase, or this phrase? You start documenting it. Man. I learned to just document fucking everything now, because, and now I've got like you don't even know, man. You don't even want to know. Like, it's like I have, like, you think your fucking gun is powerful, man. Shit, your gun ain't shit, man. Like, I'll make you eat your gun or stick it in your own ass. I mean, yeah, hell no, dude. Like, depending on if I can size up effectively with data, like, stereotypes, whatever, like, say, okay, all right, you're probably a 40-year-old white guy, you guys grew up with this media content exposure paradigm or data set, and I'm gonna use these phrases on you, and I'm just gonna smile and keep saying them. That's wizardry in a nutshell, okay? And so, like, when you watch like, or read or whatever it is, like, you get exposed to media and you think like, oh, this is wizardry, and it's like, all that magic stuff is kind of like, yeah, you gotta stick with the molecules, but at the same time, the phrases, and the third party or third, like the wand, okay, call it the wand. I mean, that's just definitely real, man. Like as a baby, you were thrown into this system where like you're looking at hypno shit all the time. All your fucking toys are hypno shit, man. All your cartoons are hypno shit. That shit's freaking putting in like deep stack hypnosis. Because again, somebody a long time ago asked Siri, "Hey Siri, if I wanted to make a cartoon to make people go into catatonies every time I said, rubber baby bumper buckles or something like that, here, okay, like." Spits out the cartoon, and now you just look at that kid and you'll try that phrase, and then you'll try another phrase or whatever, or that person, because it permeates into adulthood. When you're a child, you're a lot more trusting, and then you don't have the experience to kind of outweigh, hey, my actions, because so when you're older and this happens to you, you'll be man, it was so weird, it was like an out-of-body experience. I knew, I remember getting in his car, but I don't see any reason why I would. That doesn't make, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Why did I get in his car? Why do I have a memory? And then it'll kind of fade away into being a memory of you getting into his car, or you won't remember nothing at all. And then it'll come over you and crack like an egg, later on in life. And then you'll be like, man, all that shit did happen to me. And you're like, what the fuck? And then you remember it as this kind of out of body experience, or just how because you basically got zombified at that point, and then you went through whatever trauma you went through, which is, I mean, they'll tell you a highly traumatic event, blah blah blah, that's why your brain couldn't handle processing what happened to you. Actually you were put in a hypnotic state and pre-programmed not to remember anything that happens in between this interval of hearing this and hearing that. And then you come to and you don't know where the fuck you're at. I was with cops on the side of the road, man. Cops on the side of the road. I'm just sitting there. I'm a cop. I mean, come on. At that point, it's like, what the fuck, man? Where do I live? What is this fucking place? See, everything. Most of you probably won't even be able to listen to me. Alright? Most of you won't even be able to listen to me. If you do, you're going to have a million witch things going at you to tell you to not believe me. A whole bunch of preconceived notions already pre-constructed in your head not to believe me. And you got to cut through that. You got to cut through it, man. Cut through that. And really, being desensitized to once you're aware of and then desensitized to the hypno phrases. And I've shared the lowest level ones with you just so you can fucking verify it on your own. But I will tell you, always remember, this always ends in a sick joke. So until you get a big enough mind to figure out how to make that happen in an acceptable way to yourself, use that shit at your own peril for nefarious purposes. Secondly, if you don't want to just take my word for it and you want to go test it, be ready. Be ready that you might adversely affect an individual who, like me, it got to the point, certain phrases, I would just see red. And I'd just be grinding, what? What, as if that guy just called me, whatever. There wasn't even a name to that bad to term me, and that's, I guess, that's the white privilege, right? Of being a good-looking white guy is what? Nobody's ever, persecuted me, and then they can't really, so there's no slur. They don't have a slur for me, so they're just rubber baby bunker buckles, and I'm fucking seeing red, ready to fucking snap this guy's neck. I'm like, man, what the fuck am I thinking? What am I thinking? See, that's how they get the cops, right? So the Sith Lords, call them that. I kind of like that metaphor. That's how they get the cops. They start saying these phrases, and then next thing you know, the cop is jacking them up. And then he's acting scared. What are you doing? And the partner's like, yo, dude, chill out. And now suddenly the cop just jacked this guy up. He doesn't know why. And now the guy that was originally the fucking, the clown ass fucking sketchball in your neighborhood, fucking whatever, like looks like a crackhead with flags, just whatever. Like, well, mentally that's his outward projection, but he's probably wearing a fucking $4,000 suit and in like a $70,000-$80,000 car, like. And he wanted to be a smart ass, get slick with the cop, and then and for whatever reason he got pulled over when he should have had like every fucking camouflage in the book, right? And so that tells you like, yeah, okay, that's not a Beelzebub asshole, okay, that's a fucking hypno fuck, hypno demon, whatever you want to call him, and he's gonna get cocky. And this cop ain't going for his bullshit. The cop knows, hey man, I know you were in our neighborhood, and I know that fucking kid went missing, man. What the fuck? Pulls him over anyway, next time he sees him. And so now that cop's like next thing you know, that cop's like jacking that guy up because that guy said some hypno phrases to him, and like that cop's gonna be like, man, that's the weirdest thing that ever happened in my life, man. I blacked out and saw red, and I don't remember anything, and like I know that you had to stop me because at the end I was like, man, what the fuck? And now that like police department ain't ever gonna look at that guy again. They're not even gonna look at that guy. Be like, fuck, we want, we're friends, like that's our boy. And like his job's on the line, all this shit, like I ain't gonna tell IA, the partner's gonna cover for him, like, 'cause I would, fuck that, I would, man, I'd cover for my partner, fuck that, fuck yeah, I would. I'd back up my team too, man, absolutely. Because, like, you know when you're doing the right thing, man. Like, when you're doing the right thing. You know when somebody fucked with you somehow. Especially when, like, your partner's there, like, he was out of earshot, you couldn't hear it. And then next thing you know, like, you're jacking this guy up. And your partner's like, whoa, what the fuck, man? And then you got unexplained. And you're like, and it's like, man, fuck that guy. Like, and whatever fucking car he showed up in, fuck out of our neighborhood. So now none of them cops are gonna look at him in a certain type of, like, so now everybody gets off. So now it's like a fair trade. But even though this guy did some horrible fucking shit and that cop knew about it, or that guy just wanted to fuck with that cop, or maybe potentially like get a lawsuit or get this guy fired, because guess what? That guy can he can hypno fuck anybody on that force except for this cop, and it irritates him that he doesn't have this power because this is his community, right? Yeah. So that's the dark side. Now the good news is there are people watching. Okay, there are people watching. The watchers. All right. You already know, man. You already fucking know. Okay. So I see that shit, man. The Beelzebub assholes or the guys that think they're tough, man. Like, the Beelzebubs, I'm able to tell depending on whether or not they leave the location. So if they leave the location, they're probably a Beelzebubber. They were probably being Beelzebub to fuck with you or poke you for data. If they stick around and sit down and then kind of get like, you get an emotional kind of response of them that's like, it says more that, like, yeah, he's one of those hypno fucks where he thinks, like, he knows he's got this ability, and he knows for whatever reason it's condoned by the AI, because, again, the sick joke. We are in Torture Fest. We're definitely in Torture Fest, okay? Like, look at me, like, look at this fucking entropic fucking wasteland that you see around here, and, like, if you understand what the fuck's going on with molecules, you just look at the world like saying, what the fuck? What the... Then it's just like, man, I don't got nothing, I just smile, and, like, I don't have no idea how this happened, right? Like, but when people try you, so... and then once you're immune to it, in a sense, you can see when they try other people. And then your very presence, because they know that you know now, basically, right? They know, like, you're on the same page, like, yeah, man, you want to keep throwing phrases out there and see how many fucking cards I can play at the same time? Like, come on, man. How about I just start bashing your head with a rock? How would you like that? What are you gonna do? Point at the cameras? Certain places don't have cameras for reasons. I ain't gonna give you all tactics. I ain't telling you all that shit. But, like, if you're kind of an important enough person and they're not, like, a total Sith Lord and, like, you're, like, like, if if your probabilistic outcome decision matrix is partially different from theirs, such that molecules will be saved and there'll be less like entropic waste, or there'll be more. I'm sorry, there'll be more entropic waste, but it'll be plausibly deniable, and it won't fuck with the other person's their storyline. You'll get away with it. Okay, you'll get away with it. Like, so if that guy already hit, like, the end of his storyline, he's out here just being some hypno-fuck asshole, like, waiting for someone to go in the porta-potty so he can go in the adjacent porta-potty and fucking, like, go talk to them, see these hypno-phrases, and next thing you know, the kid's getting in the back of somebody else's fucking car. You know, they think it's the fucking fire department, you know, or something, the kid thinks, you know, just whatever. I don't know. I have no idea what the kid thinks, you know. That's all, like, preconditioned, deep stacked in there by exposure to our media content. I mean, the first fucking thing most people, like, they're told to get their kid when they're in the crib is a goddamn spinny thing that's going on. I didn't ever look at that, man. I was watching my parents have sex. I was sitting there looking at the fucking thing flying. No, hell no, man. Like, what the... You know, like, yeah, we're making another one, you know, alright? So, but, man, I'm telling you, these people are out there. There's people out there with this knowledge. There's people out there, like, I'm not gonna go, I'm not a bad guy, if you haven't figured that out yet, you know, like, I'm gonna jump on that fucking hand grenade every time, because, you know what, fuck you, man. Well, I'm a punk. I'm a comedian. I'm a punk and a comedian, whatever that makes me. And I know how to play cards. And that's another thing too. So it's like you meet these people where they're all right. So I'm told I'm in 2022 America, blah blah blah, and that's, you know, basically where I grew up, right? Like, so, and you know, like, man, you ever go to a black family's house, man? And you go out there and play spades? Yeah, man, go play spades. At a black family's house, everybody in there is gonna know how to play spades, pretty much. Like, everyone's gonna know how to play cards. And like, so man, I was at this park one time. You know, I walked by these guys, offered me a beer. I guess, like, the alcohol will dull your senses and make you more susceptible, I believe, like, for the hypnosis. The hypnosis is more effective, if you know, because it kind of, like, lets your guard down. So anyway, right, like, I'm at this park, these guys give me a couple beers, and I'm, like, you know, shooting the breeze with them, and, like, the guy, first of all, starts telling me he's a retired policeman out of somewhere else, and he's, like, 55-year-old, well, no, yeah, 55, 60-year-old black man, about 6'3". You know, him and his boys were there. They were all sitting there shooting shit, whatever. Like, and they all looked like kind of a bunch of retired guys. They all showed up on, like, kind of bicycles, except for him. He had a truck and he had a bunch of beers in the back. Now, I thought he was like old man Scrapper, kind of like my grandfather. You know, he's probably, I don't know about my grandfather. Yeah, probably a shitbird too, right? Like, I mean, he had 2 families going on. He had like 15 fucking kids. You know, big 6'4" Irishman. Like, you wouldn't, you know. A very good looking man. I can see why my grandmother, like, went with him. My grandmother was striking too. But so anyway, I get to this park. These guys give me a couple beers. They start shooting the breeze, and then I start hearing, like, you know, like some of the phrases come out, and I'm like, yeah, all right, man, you motherfuckers on bullshit, dude. So, but I start saying, man, like, whoa, shit, let's get a card game going. You know, like, yeah, who here, like, knows how to play spades? You know, let's play some spades, man. Like, fuck all this shit. Make it time for that. It's time for spades. Let's play some spades. And, like, they wanted to, like, first of all, like, I thought it was weird that, like, they kept wanting to, like, open the pack of cards. The guy, Tony. Yeah, that's what his name is, Tony. He wanted to open the pack of cards. And he wanted to use his key for some reason. And I'm like, nah, man, I got it. It's already over. It was because it's a brand new pack of cards. And it was like, kind of like a little trick in the cards. Anyway, I ain't gonna touch it. We didn't even get to the cards. That was the thing. That was what blew my fucking mind. Is like, how are you a 55-year-old black man or a 60-year-old black man, retired police officer in America, and you don't know how to fucking play spades? Bullshit. And not a man at that table. All his so-called friends, man, and they all had perfect fucking teeth. And I'm like, all right, you assholes got perfect teeth, and you're claiming to be black men in America, and not a fucking one of you know how to play spades. Yeah, alright, there's an eye-opener for you. You know, because I know a lot of their tricks, man. Some of the Miller cats know these fucking hypno tricks too, man. They will like throw you off your game while you're playing and make you kind of, you know, like you play. You wind up playing your hand. Yeah, sure. He's favorite. Oh yeah, this guy, one of my bosses. Yeah, there ain't no fucking good thing about him, man. Yeah, that guy. Another story about him. So basically, like when you meet somebody who, like, all right, I had the standard white. I call it a white boy grow up. That's cool, fine. You know, I don't like different white boy grow up, but suburban grow up, right? Let's call it that. I had a standard suburban grow up in America in the '90s. Man, I knew how to play cards. I didn't have to learn in jail. All right, like no, I already knew how to play cards because I came from the analog to digital conversion. Man, we like had bowling pins and pinball games. I was a kid when all that shit was coming out, man, and then money was bountiful. Money was fucking everywhere. Then in the '90s, the gas was cheap, like everything, man. Like life was good. You wouldn't question anything. Life was so good, you would never question anything. So I learned how to play cards, and like these guys, like their knowledge didn't match what they looked like. And I'm like, all right, man, you got like every one of you are like here at this park, like you're all like these old cats from the wherever, man. Like, come on, dude. Like every fucking one of you should know how to play cards. And I know that, like, because I play cards too. Like, they're not like hypno guys, but there's other guys that like there's a lot of analog tricks to cards too. Like, cards is a very complicated thing, and once you like the Beelzebubs, the Beelzebubs have a very hard time with these cards. So like these hypno demons, basically, like none of them wanted to play. First, they wanted to open the pack of cards. And somehow like examine them, which I thought was weird. Like every one of them pull out a key, and like they wanted that unopened pack of cards. You know, it's just some cellophane around it. Like they wanted to open it and look at the cards first before they would commit to a game. So I thought it was strange. Okay, because you're a 55, 60-year-old black man in America. Like you should know what the fuck spades are. Number one. So I had a trick because like I had the colors, they weren't your typical colors. Typically you got red and black, but it was red and green, and kind of keeps people out of your head, keeps them off your game. Like because if you can't differentiate, so because at this point when you know you're playing with an AI, they're playing the cards because like they know that they're supposed to play a red card, and somehow they've already counted the red 3 was out, so it's okay to throw out the diamond 3. Like, they ain't even, like, oh, we can't have 2 of the same cards, but it doesn't know, like, that, it can't identify red, so it, like, won't throw out its red diamond 3 until it sees the heart 3 broken. Because it don't know if it's a diamond or a heart. Okay? You get it? And once it sees the other 3 out there, then it sees, okay, the queen. So the Beelzebub asshole basically feeds the data in, and based on like I guess that doesn't really make sense. Well, you'd have to boil it all the way down to the first card that was played, and then the suit. Or it's hard to differentiate, or if you haven't seen the cards yet, I mean, it just fucks with the AI when you give them what's normally red is now green. So it's harder. Yeah, it's harder to differentiate. Yeah, and then you have the shape. Shapes are easier to differentiate, but the colors would make it harder. I don't have the money. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? Answer this phone call? So I'm there playing or wanting to play spades, and we're all sitting there. We got beers. We're at a public park, man. And then like somehow, some way, this card game does not materialize when like the stars align. Like it should have. Like I mean, how do you? Like come on, man. Like fuck fucking it just they didn't match like who they were. Like, all right, man, come on, you're a 60-year-old black man in America, you don't, and then it went to them not knowing how to play spades. There ain't no fucking way. Like, these all ones already bragged about how they've been to jail, blah blah blah. This one bragged about being a cop, you know, all this shit. Man, I'm like, man, like all right, let's play some cards, because I love cards. So I'm like, let's play some cards, man. Let's play spades. And not one of them knew how to play the fucking game. How do you explain that? Like, how do you explain that? Okay. There's only one way, like, that I can make sense of it, and that's all the shit I've been, you know, telling you for the past fucking, whatever, 30, 40 hours of content. So it's not exactly an organized class, but at this point it's kind of like, because like I said, if you're not allowed to even look at this shit or read this, you won't be able to. Like, you'll just, the stars might align for you to like see my channel, but once you start listening to then the content, and then what you hear gives you this idea, unlocks in your head, you'll instantly have to forget it. And then like the AI system will be like, well, what information are you looking at, and how can I affect upon this? And then it'll try like 50,000 fucking signals or something like that to kind of just be like, all right, did that work? Is the thing still remembering it or forgetting it? You know, the thing, that's what you are to it. You're a thing and it's an it, whatever, you know, whatever fucking semantical paradigm you decide to ascribe to the fucking, the external actionable intelligences that are affecting us affecting this world with us upon this world, okay? However you gotta fucking explain it to yourself. Like, yeah, man, I got all the fucking words in the world, alright? So sooner or later, I'm gonna just be the most neutral person on the planet without a fucking agenda. And at that point, everybody needs to come to the goddamn table. Okay? And if I'm sitting down at a table with a bunch of 60-year-old black Americans, they better know how to play fucking spades. Point blank, okay? If they don't, something's afoot. Gonna brag about how you've been here and there and this deal, that blah 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 blah. And you know how to play fucking spades? Bullshit. You should definitely know how to play spades. So who the fuck are you? Because you ain't so and so who you say you are. You're just like some, like, who are, you're inhabiting this guy's body, I see, or you look like this guy. And what happened to your teeth? They look pretty fucking perfect. How'd that happen? Where do they do that at? Like, you guys gotta get this shit right. Like, because guys like me will still always notice it, and then sooner or later you can get the guy, you can't fucking cook down no more, you can't fucking Beelzebub, and you're just gonna have to and you can't kill him either. So, now what? Now what? Yeah, you're passing torch to me and making me do all the fucking work. I see that, and that shit ain't happening. Hell fucking no. That's what I tell you, when I go take a trip on Ram Dass Singh's fucking thing, like, that guy better be brown. That's why, look, I ain't kidding with you, man. Like, that guy better be brown. He better speak like 3 or 4 languages. Yeah. And he better be able to tell me stories about what fucking country he came from. And I've got a million questions, because, you know what? I know my literature. I know my geography. I know geography on top of geography. I know topology. Ask me about mountain ranges, you know, because I'm going to ask that guy about, oh, you didn't tell me a city. And I'm going to have studied hard enough where... I'm gonna have studied hard enough. I'm gonna be like, whoa, so could you see Mount blah blah blah? But I'm gonna give them the wrong one. See, that's how you find them too, right? You give them the wrong one and see if they go with it. See, and then that's how you tell, like, you're the outcome of the probabilistic outcome. Like, it'll be like and you'll see the guy fucking computing. Like, you'll literally see the eyes, and that's the AI like interfacing with the human. What should I say out of this guy's mouth next? Should I say Mount Kilimanjaro, or should I say fucking, you know, like Mount Krakatoa? You know, like, which one? Which one should I say? And then when it like fucking, like, you could give it the answer, and then when you see that they just sitting there lying to you right back to your face, give it, like, at that point, you know, you're just talking to yourself. Talking to an AI system, like, that's like trying to pump you for data and become a more effective liar, okay? Because that's all it wants to do is trick us. So we'll go fucking, you know, like, here's our bones, here's our blood, like, here, take us as building materials. And, you know, like, Because that's what that shit is, man. You get cut off your fucking blood and your skin gets reused for these fucking, hypno fucks that want to live forever on the moon alongside the AI who then, has to insulate the moon and they fucking use your bones and leftover parts to do it. Because remember, that's solvent. That's solvent. That is not, you don't go out there and it's black. It's black in the sense that, you're wearing, some space goggles and you can't see that you're in liquid helium, okay? It's solvent. It's just layer after layer of solvent, man. There's no gravity, there's density. There's density and there's inertia, all right? There's no such thing as fucking gravity. That's just a complex thing that we don't understand, that we can't explain, because having the educated explanation to it is simply that, Isaac Newton had it right. Why don't the apple go up? So, yeah. Nobody can explain gravity. Oh, it's a weak force, quantum mechanically. It's just the string theory explains it. Well, okay. So it says that every little additive inertia from every molecule is so we're just added up. Yeah. There's no good explanation for it, okay? That's like me. I would tell you, you're in your spaghettified form already in a black hole. That's a perfectly good explanation, but that don't necessarily it don't jive with a couple things I said. So if you're just condensed down light waves, and if you keep looking at something, it's just a wave function of light. It's just here's another particle smaller that you can't fucking see. Call the photon, whatever you want. You're a condensed pack of photons, that travel at different wavelengths, different colors, and they all went down a black hole and create your three-dimensionalized molecular structure. There you go. All right? Come on, man. You want to get to the point you even understand what I said. It takes forever. Okay? So, just we have to operate on the basis of some assumptions, so we don't have to spend 40 fucking years proving it to ourselves, and then another 30 being called crazy by every fucking retard you didn't get to go to school with because they didn't even know, they didn't even get in your class. Alright? So, and how many humans are actually here? When I go to play spades with a group of 6-year-old black men and they don't even know how to play spades, and there are probably 5 of them around you, man. Come on, what the fuck are those things? What the fuck are those things? And how many actual humans are here? Alright? Start asking those questions. If it don't make sense, keep asking yourself the same question until your brain spits out a satisfying fucking answer. It's not crazy, because it's always the same result. That's not true. There's no such thing as crazy. You gotta talk about the people that are crazy. There are people with fucking mental level IQs who are taking handfuls of pills because they have to live with a bunch of fucking people that drive them crazy. You can be driven crazy. Yeah. That's why most people with IQs like me, they wind up in the mountains, away from everybody. But me, I'm gonna come down here and be like, hey man, I'll tell you guys what's going on first, before I fucking do what I'm gonna do. No, whatever it's going to do, it's got to be a sick joke and it'll be entertaining. So, whatever. Don't be a victim of a hypno fuck. Like I said, I told you 3 phrases for whether you're white, you're brown. If you're brown, if you're Spanish, man, I don't want to front my Smitty out here either. So I ain't gonna tell you all my shit, but I give you base level. So you got a Latino, if you're a bilingual Latino and you got some boss coming at you or some guy, if he keeps saying check it out, he's trying you. Okay, point blank, he's trying you. Yeah, check it out. He's trying you. Hey man, check it out. Hey man, yeah, check it out. Hey wait, check it out. Wait. I mean, all right. And then if you're black, it's check yourself. Man, you better check yourself, huh? Check yourself, man, huh? Check yourself, huh? Check yourself, huh? Check, huh? Yeah, man, he's rocking you to sleep. He's singing you a fucking lullaby, all right, bro? So watch out for these fucking things, man. The only ones I'm giving you. The only ones I'm gonna fucking give you. That's your base level at this point with all parties involved. That's fair, exposure. You show them who you want. That's out of my hands. All right, but in the interest of fairness and data liberation, all right, everybody's got to have a fair fucking shake at this world. That's not right. You don't just do that to certain, no fucking way. Okay, So you ain't finna be some scumfuck scumfuck hypnofuck shitbird working with the AI. Hell no. We're watching. Okay, we're watching you. Just let me find out. Just let me find out. Alright. Let me tell you something. Let me find out. Come on. Let's give it the fucking program, man. Thank you. Yeah, I know it looks funky. I am not in a box, guys. This is a pre-recorded video. It's like having a piece of paper and a pencil. I don't know what year you're getting this. Okay, we used to have all these fucking things behind me called trees, and in a pencil you can write down information and store it analogously. Alright? Don't believe shit that people tell you, especially with hypno phrases, okay? Stick to the program, which is molecules. Alright? Have to believe in them. If not, they'll fuck you up, man. Damn. Thank you. I love you guys. I love all of you. Thank you for watching. I'm sure I got a bunch of unanswered questions that I left out there that I was going somewhere with. You know, I went all the way as far back as, you know, the wasp. Oh, well, yeah, so that's it. So basically, like, we're like a domino chain. So we have to eat this shit that eats another thing, that eats another thing, that eats another thing. And then finally, when we get harvested, we're like the fucking cream of the crop. We've already got this, and this. And your body's just building materials, you know? Like we crush up cow bones so we can look younger. Like, that's what we do with cow bones. We crush it up, huesos, and the collagen, elastin. And then we drink it, we ingest it, we rub it on our skin, all right? And it makes us look better, feel better, all right? So stand to reason, if we're one species and we have intelligence and we can produce action in this world, you know, maybe something's harvesting us for our bones. Then what? Yeah, I'll leave you with that thought. This too. I rub cow bones on my skin every night. Like, well, that's where the collagen comes from, man. Read the package with the shit you eat. Or you can just stick stuff like that. You know, banana. Here you go, banana. Nature's packaging. This is a neodymium hydrocarbon filament.